Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
All right. Shout out to everybody in the build. Appreciate each and every one of you being here. Make sure you hit the like button. Shout out and special thanks to and acknowledgement to Machismo TV. Any moderators, put the link to that in the chat room. Make sure you go and subscribe to Machismo TV. So we are back in here again at the CP time sphere. We back at it. All my fault. Not Hood Servative fault. He said he'd been on a hot streak in the chat room. I mean, he said in the chat room, he said he'd been on a hot streak being on white people time. But I got him. I'm breaking this streak. But shout out to Bomsey London. That's a little controversial. He says, missed the opportunity to say doesn't want ice melting outside the cube. Doesn't want ice melting outside the cube. Okay, I see what you did there. Dre Russ of the Builder says, think the black Republicans infighting in Florida would also be a topic to be had. I don't know that much about that. Hood, you know what you're talking about right there? Mic check on Hood.
Not
Conservative.
totally. I mean, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. No, I didn't look too closely into it. I know it's about the stream we did last Saturday with the slavery curriculum. They're saying that black people learned some marketable skills during slavery, and so the black Republicans are, I don't know, offended by it.
Okay, well, when he said black Republicans infighting, is he talking about is black Republicans on both sides arguing against each other? Is that what he's saying? Is that
more or less? Don't get me speaking too closely on it because I haven't tracked it closely to really know for a fact. But it's basically like the black Republicans. A lot of them seem to be on the Democrat side with this. It's a weird thing. The black Republicans are getting offended about this stuff, but I don't know what's been said by whom so far because it is a thing. It's definitely a thing happening.
Okay, I actually, to some degree, I like that because again, the debate that's going to be had, I like when it's a debate against black people, and even if black people within the same political camp have differing ideas and they're hashing it out. To me, I look at that in a way that they're in a small way just carving out what it actually means to be a black Republican or black conservative, because like I did a show where I was trying to figure out where the line is, I was trying to figure out where the modern day lines are in terms of black conservatism, and that could be evidence that softening the blow of slavery probably is a line that some of them aren't willing to go, and that's fine. That's fine, and so if other black people are taking a different view, I want to see that debate amongst black people versus just black people just reacting, responding, reading, responding, going off the tea leaves, because that's the stereotype of any black Republicans. They just go off the tea leaves or whatever the white people say. Well, I do like that. It shows that within the whole schema of black Republicans, there's still some thinking for themselves and some fighting back and forth and disagreeing. So I'm good with it.
No, I think it's fair. Like the position you just laid out, I take no real issue with, even though I do come from the other side of it, in the sense that I think Black people we could benefit from taking the sting off slavery a little bit. I
I
think
agree
we
with that too.
absolutely could.
Hmm.
So
I agree
I
with
don't
that.
really like the idea of us wearing our slavery as some type of permanent badge. It's not a badge, it's an anchor. And so I don't really care for
Hmm.
it in that context. So I would come from the other side of that argument.
No, yeah, and I agree with you 100%. But either way it go, I like that Black people are having that discussion and having that debate. You know, may the best arguments win. If everybody comes out on your side, then that's great. No, I'm fine with that. No, that's I would like to see that happen. I would like to see people stop wearing it as a badge because you rightfully said it could be an anchor, or it is an anchor. So yeah, but either way it go, I want Black people having a discussion, and may the best arguments win. And so yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Shout out to Dr. Thunder. Shout out to Dr. Thunder in the building. He says racism is not the worst thing that can happen. Yeah, I remember you mentioned about wanting a piece of some of these Saturday shows. So definitely I got you with the link after we lay out things later on. So if you're still around, yeah, definitely want you to come up and give your take on it if you got something to say on it. So but all right. So let's go
And
ahead and
real quick, shout out to Dr. Thunder. I would love to have you up here because when I go to Dr. Thunder's panel, for some reason I always feel compelled to be on my best behavior. I don't know why. Maybe it's the religiosity of it, but I like so. Doc, please feel free to come up when the link is dropped.
That's funny. Dr. Thunder is the one that keep you in he keep you in line on your best behavior. That's nice. That's nice. But all right, so let's get to the reason. 95 people, almost 100 people in here. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Let's get to the reason why we're gathered here. I'll just give a little pre-ramble to it. Is that Ice Cube colored outside the lines for the first time. I want to say it was a year ago, year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. Damn, time flies. Shit, no, that was longer than 2 years ago. When he was palling around with Donald Trump, the contract with Black America and all of that, was going on. I can't even remember exactly the timeline, how long ago it was. And then he got called to the principal's office, and by principal's office, I mean just Black media, went off on him. And then it was the epic conversation with the Quains over on Fox Soul, where they very famously said, why isn't it nothing in the contract with Black America for Black women? And Cube said it is. It says Black people, Black women are part of Black people, and they was like, and so that was an eye-opening moment for I think a lot of Black men to look at it and see that, yeah, politically, what they're striving for, what they want, what they're doing has little to do with whatever you are thinking politically. That was the first huge moment where Black people, or specifically Black men, could see that, yeah, you know what, I think there is a political divide between Black men and Black women. That was truly the first time. And that's what Ice Cube in a roundabout way is kind of known for at this point. And since then, and I didn't realize this, but he said he's been more or less shunned from a lot of Black media outlets. And now that he's doing this interview tour, who's he talking to? Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, and other white people. He did go on I think the I Am Athlete podcast. He talked to Bill Maher. I watched some of that. So yeah, basically he's only he's only welcomed in he's only welcomed in white society now. Mr. Straight Out of Compton. So
If you
so
if you
go
look
ahead.
in the back chat, I actually
Yeah.
I used that clip yesterday, so I still had it queued up for my show. If you look in the back chat, I gave you that clip of Ice Cube talking to the ladies at I forget, was it Fox Soul, Old Holes, some shit they got on the internet.
Yeah. The show was affectionately called the Four Washed Up Divas. That was the nickname for it.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
It's called Cocktails with Queens officially, but Four Washed Up Divas just rings and rolls off the tongue a little better. But yeah, so here's the clip.
I care about what's in this contract with Black America for women, and it's not, we're not mentioned at all in the contract with Black America. And
you are mentioned. I mean, when you mention Black people, you mentioning Black women. So don't count yourself out.
No, that's not true.
That's like administration say that when they
Black people is not Black women. Black women are not included in Black people.
No,
I care about what's in.
So there it is, right there. There it is, right there. That's like the ultimate. We don't fuck with you niggas. We want our own shit. I used to have a clip of Hope Gazelle waiting to go, where she really and again, this is a biological male who, you know, presenting as a woman, sometimes not very well when you catch like a full wide shot, but she's you know, Hope Gazelle, he's, you know, presenting as a woman. What's interesting, while speaking as a woman, Hope said the shit that that they not supposed to say out loud, that that basically we're fighting for what we're fighting for, and yeah, we want your support, but you didn't, you know, you wasn't there, you know, on the front lines in our fight for what we want. So when we get what we want, forgive me for not considering you when it comes to us trying to get the deal done to our benefit. So, you know, it was basically like Hope said, more or less, that we need y'all for numbers, but fuck y'all on the back end when it come down to getting whatever we want, whatever legislation or whatever we want signed. It was an interesting thing, but I remember that. Go ahead.
It's so funny that you mentioned that, because yesterday when I covered this, and I sent you this this clip from the Tucker Carlson interview, and in my mind I kind of wanted to be like a two-parter. So yesterday I covered the first part of the interview with Tucker and Q, like riding around like South Central LA, and then we're going to now cover the more serious part of the interview with them doing an in-studio actual conversation. And one of the things I was laying out in my show yesterday was like the reasoning why Black men are shifting to the right. And I specifically mentioned the whole Umar Johnson, Hope Giselle thing. And I talked about that whole just alienation from Black culture that Black men are experiencing in ways that are growing. It's not just one little way or one nerdy guy. It's like, if Cube can't feel at home in this thing, how many regular guys can't feel at home in this thing? You know what I mean?
Right. No, yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying, but excuse me, I don't think Cube is in a place where he's not feeling at home. It's like he knows something is up. he knows something is up, but I don't think he's fully all the way leaned into or embraced that. Well, then again, yes, he has. I don't know if he got the full wake up call, the 100% wake up call that he needed. So I don't know. I'm divided on that, but he definitely could see and tell that something is up, and he understands. He definitely understands the concept of breaking off from, you know, just allegiance to the Democratic Party. He do understand that. I think a lot of Black people, you know, will speak like that. Hell, I was just listening to some Boyce Watkins where he was going off on Roland Martin for being, you know, committed to the Democratic Party, the you know, to the point that where Roland Martin was criticizing Cornel West for running for president because you're not gonna win. You're just taking away from the main candidate. The what did you call that? What do they call Hillary? You know, it's the candidate that's not really that's not the insider. The shit, I can't think of the word.
Like the dark horse or something.
No. I don't know. It was basically there's the standard candidate that the party the party want to win. This is their guy. This is their, is like he's just basically saying you're taking away from that. And so were so many words, which means that he's so in camp with the Democratic Party, a black man pushing, whatever it is that black people want. He's like he was shitting on that. And I only brought that up just to say that Boyce Watkins was criticizing him for being just a drone for the Democratic Party. Like a lot of people see it and they criticize it, but however they it's almost like a Bradley effect thing where they just turn around and still, vote Democrat no matter what, even though they criticize it. I think they go with the lesser of two evil strategy or fallacy or whatever the hell, but it's something like that.
Hey, you want to hear something funny about Boyce
Establishment,
Watkins?
that's the word. Yeah, the establishment.
The establishment
candidate.
candidate.
Yeah, that's including where I was going. Yeah.
So the thing about Boyce Watkins, he is currently vacationing in Iceland, making tweets about spending your black dollars in black businesses. This nigga is in the heart of white people. Like, this is the white people factory. White people are born on Icelandic icebergs, and Boyce is out there giving them all his money, having a good old time. I fuck with it though. Go celebrate yourself, Boyce. Go learn about white folk. Spend your black dollars with the white man.
Yeah, that's interesting. You said he's off on Iceland.
No, in Iceland. It's a country.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. He's in Iceland talking to black people about spending their black dollars with black businesses. I mean, it's like,
yes.
What's the black percentage out there? Population percentage?
Him. And probably his wife. I don't even think they got like that whole African migration thing up in Iceland. Like the Africans haven't made it that far north yet. So it's probably just Boyce and his woman up in Iceland spending black dollars.
Yeah, that's weird. But all right. Here we go. This is the interview. This is the discussion. I'm still tripping on that Boyce thing, and to what Nate said in the chat room. I wasn't saying that Boyce wasn't a leftist. I was just saying that a lot of black people who have criticism of the Democratic Party, and they, they Bradley affected. They will have moments. I catch a lot of them. They'll go in, but then they'll vote for the Democrats. It's like that's just a thing that they do. That's a thing that they do. And it's one thing that I've been saying for like probably the last month or so now, that a lot of them, they vote Democrat, but truth be told, what they really are is, worse. It's probably worse because they're further to the left than the Democrats. It's like their argument really isn't. Their argument is that the Democrats are not far left enough. And so that's why Nate is probably right when he's saying they're leftists. Like they're leftist to the far end extreme of socialism, to the point to where the Democrats are some pro-capitalist white people that they think are, and who are still anti-black in their eyes, because I've literally heard them say, that capitalism is the enemy of black people. I've heard a lot of them say that. So yeah, their problem with the Democrats is that the Democrats aren't far left enough. But all right, let's get into this. Anything else you want to say before we roll the beautiful bean footage, or not so beautiful bean footage? We'll see.
Nah, I actually previewed this interview. I watched probably a good 75% of it, and this is a lot heavier than the interview I covered. So I don't know. You might find some stuff in here you like, but let's get to it.
I listened to it. So yeah, I know it's coming. Let's go.
Why would you be doing this of all interviews? I mean, you could do an interview with anyone you're doing an interview with. Why would you be doing this of all interviews? I mean, you could do an interview with anyone you're doing an interview with me. Obviously, you're going to take abuse for doing that. Like, why would you do that?
Because I think it's silly not to talk to people. I think whether we agree or not,
right,
that has nothing to do with it. It's like, this is what it's all about. Let's let's talk about it. Let's debate. And you know, I've been shut out.
That sounds like right-wing extremism and whataboutism.
But I've been shut out. You know, some platforms will not have me on.
Why?
They don't like that I'm, you know, an independent thinker. I'm not part of the herd. I'm not part of the go along to get along gang, so to speak. So, you know, I'm an outsider. And so, you know, I'm not part of the club. So I have to go places for one that I'm welcome.
Mm-hmm.
And
go ahead.
Yeah, the go along, get along gang, right? Now, I was covering, just before this show, I was doing a show on my channel talking about the immigrants in Chicago. And I sort of raised this question, what's the value in voting black nowadays? Because, I mean, they're just going to vote to replace you. I mean, you vote for them and they're going to move to replace you with all these illegals. And I'm like, well, isn't voting black just for the sake of voting black basically being a part of the go along, the get along gang?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's a simple short answer to that one. Yes, and I got not much to add to that. And basically what it amounts to is that the Democrats mouth the platitudes of giving more shit to more people, and black people want more shit, so vote Democrat. Voting Republican mean less shit. Voting Democrat means more shit. Now, here's the deal. There's like you said, there's a whole nother group of people who got their hands out for the shit. So the shit that's given and the people that is being given to is getting bigger. So which means you're getting less of what you're voting for. So it's futile at best. It's futile at best.
Where I can voice my opinion without somebody come. I have to go places for one that I'm welcome, and where I can voice my opinion without somebody, you know, saying I'm a bad person and that they never want to have me on their platform again.
What platforms have banned you?
I've been, you know, I tried to go on The View. They didn't have me on The View.
Why?
Well, a few of the guests just really didn't like where I was coming from. So, or a few of the hosts, I mean. So that's what I was told by the producers. You know, I don't know if the producers was just copping out and using some of the hosts to not have me come on and explain myself.
I know he talking about Whoopi. When Barbara Walters was running The View, she let Cube come up there. When Whoopi running The View, nah, get your black ass back. And you know, earlier you were kind of alluding to the whole having your nigga wake up call. And I think for black men of a particular mindset, your Negro wake up call is going to come from black people, black women specifically, like Whoopi.
Yeah, agreed. And True Hype says, shout out to Kwame Brown. Yeah, definitely. You know, that was his phrase, the go along, get along gang that Cube used. Cube didn't shout him out. Cube said, fuck you, I'm stealing your shit, nigga. But all right. but all right.
Kwame didn't invent that phrase, by the way.
Oh, he didn't? Oh, I thought he did.
No.
Okay.
No, that's an old phrase. It's a very old phrase.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, but I mean, I don't know if I got that much to say about Cube being, you know, banned on The View. I mean, it's interesting. But you know, I'm sitting there trying to think, like, what kind of guests do they have? I mean, they obviously have men on there from time to time, but it's specifically that some particular host, like you said, Whoopi, more than likely, didn't like him, didn't want to talk to him. So it's like, yeah, you know, coloring outside the box is just a no deal. That some people they They don't want to talk to somebody who, one, you never seen this man with a MAGA hat on. You never heard him say, I support Trump. You never even heard him say he voted for Trump. You just heard him say that I'm going to talk to the person who's in power. And if that's who I got to work with to get something done for my people, that's who I'm going to work with. Like that, like you couldn't be more reasonable. Like that's where it just got weird, that for anybody to look at what he was doing as wrong. Like what do you think black people had to do, some time ago, going back to, the 60s, pre-civil rights movement, everybody that they had, every in that regard, anybody, that all white people, any white politician was viewed as the enemy. But shit got done. Why? People had to talk to the enemy. People had to negotiate with the enemy. It's like, so even if you take the approach that they're the enemy, it's like that's a very normal thing for people to negotiate with the enemy to get shit done. It's like, that's why it's just goofy to me.
But
you'd be a good booking for them.
I've been on there before.
Yeah.
It's just when I've became an independent thinker, when I've, I'm not, I don't follow their brand of politics, I guess.
But if you can't think for yourself, then you're not really free, are you?
No, you're not. You're not. But I've been excluded. I've been excluded on Oprah.
On Oprah?
On Oprah, yeah. I've been excluded. Yeah, man.
I would think you'd be the person Oprah would want to promote. I mean, you grew up in South Central. You were successful at a young age. You have dignity. You say what you think. Like, I thought that was the goal.
Well, okay, Tucker reaching. Oprah wouldn't want to promote Ice Cube. It's like, I mean, Oprah just occasionally, she'll have an outside the box interview with a rapper or somebody, But
how often has Oprah even talked to rappers? Because I think that was one of the big criticisms against Oprah at one point, is she actually never had a rapper on her show, not as a performance or as an interview.
Well, I get why she wouldn't have one on as a performance. I don't think, this wasn't during the Oprah. I remember it was a conversation her and Jay-Z was having. I remember her and Jay-Z talked somewhere. It wasn't on like the Oprah show when she was doing her show, but it was Oprah and Jay-Z sitting in some chairs in front of an audience. So I did see that. So yeah.
That was probably 40 years into Oprah's career, bro.
Yeah, no, exactly. So yeah.
40 years and you talk to Jay-Z. Mighty white of you, Oprah.
Yeah. Jay-Z had to get fully actualized, become 50, become a billion, had to be over 50, had to be an over 50 billionaire, married to the queen of black women in order for to get an interview. Yeah.
Me too. I don't know what it is, but several of my, I had a movie called Barbershop.
I remember
that I wasn't invited to participate with the cast. I produced a show called Black White, and it was a very controversial show. And once again, they had the whole cast on, but I wasn't invited, and so I don't know.
On Oprah's show.
Yeah, so I don't know what that's.
But Oprah's obvious.
Now that is interesting. If she invited the whole cast to Barbershop there, but didn't invite him, like that's weird. That's weird. It's no way around that. It's like they're in their own way trying to penalize this man for committing the crime of talking to Donald Trump. Is wild.
Not the right type of black. You got to be the kind of black that they tell you to be. Otherwise, you don't get to be black. You got to be something else.
Obviously, a saintly, godlike figure who's revered by all decent people. Why would she exclude you?
I really don't know. That's that's something that I would love to find out. But I can't tell you, if there's a single thing that I've done or said to her.
Have you noticed that it is more controversial to criticize Oprah than to burn the American flag?
Really?
Seems that way. I've never heard anybody criticize Oprah. Do you think it's political or do you think it's deeper than that? You're not like a right winger.
Yeah, Tucker is a funny white man. I swear. Tucker is a hilarious, it's like a quiet, dry funny though.
Yeah. It's like he's asking these questions very seriously with a very serious face, but it's like a lot of sarcasm with it too. It's like he's coming off very sarcastic with all the questions that he's asking. I gotta find that clip of Tucker Carlson. I don't even want to tell what it was about. Hold on. If I can find that. Damn it. Okay, never mind. I gotta pull that up later in the show. I don't even want y'all to know. I don't even want to tease what it is because y'all haven't seen it. It's funny as fuck. You probably seen it. But anyway, let's let's go ahead and go. Let's roll some more.
No.
Do you think it's political or do you think it's deeper than that? You're not like a right winger.
No.
You don't even seem that political.
No, I'm not really. I'm pretty much, just want to do right by the people, So if that comes through political means, that comes through the private sector, wherever it comes, I'm down to work with whoever's down to do something right for the people.
So I remember reading you say something along the lines of, I didn't vote for Trump. I'm not a Trump voter. You actually attacked Trump at one point, but you were willing to meet with Trump. Do you think that crossed a line?
I think some people didn't like that, but I think it's idiotic. Enemies meet.
Right.
They talk. I'm pretty sure there's some communication between Russia and the Ukraine right now. Somebody's on the phone talking to somebody, trying to come up with a solution. So we just got to talk. That's the only way we're going to work this out. I know when the talking stops, the fighting starts. A lot of people, they, think I'm a, Republican. I'm a right winger. Just because I was willing to speak to the Trump administration, and I was willing to speak with the Biden administration as well.
Have you?
One guy in the administration, but it didn't go anywhere. It was basically a, take my temperature kind of call. We'll get to it. But they never got to it or never planned to.
I love irony.
Left the administration,
and I think it's ironic.
Oh, go ahead.
I love irony, and I think it's ironic. Ice Cube saying that they were just taking it was a take my temperature call. Like, motherfucker, I'm Ice Cube. I'm cold. Let's get to the point. It's so weird. This is how the Biden administration treats you.
You're right. Yeah. It's an interesting thing. I do like him putting it out there that they ultimately wanted to give him the runaround. It really crystallizes the point that everybody came at him for talking to Trump or for wanting to talk to Trump. And they say you shouldn't be talking to him. But then Biden got in power. And then now Biden is giving him the runaround, avoiding talking to him. So it's like that really makes the point that while the iron is hot, you have to strike while the iron is hot. You can't be fucking around with it saying that, oh, I'm gonna wait till our guy gets in. It's like, no, you don't know what that guy gonna do. You got to literally make a move when you can make a move. And by doing that, if he would have had some shit going on with Trump, that would have put more pressure on Biden. It's like they have to see the degree in which criticizing Cube for wanting to have a conversation with Trump, how just how counterproductive that is to just the overall thing. But he was at least, you know, presenting like he was willing to talk to him and have the conversation. But what the other side do? They gave him the runaround. But speaking of Tucker Carlson, let me throw this up here.
I can't cook, can't clean.
Hold on.
Bitches born in the 90s that's under 25 can't cook, can't clean. They don't want to work nothing. Niggas that's 31 and over get in relationships with them and wonder why shit ain't working. That's because all young bitches want to do is pop pills, smoke weed, get drunk, lay around, suck dick, eat hot Cheetos, charge they phone, get a sew and weave, twerk, be bisexual, eat McDonald's, wash they pussy in the sink, lie, take selfies, and talk shit through Wi-Fi because they phone never on.
I don't know who the hell made that, but it was
AI. It's AI like a motherfucker.
I know it was AI. I know it was AI, but I'm just saying, whoever put it together, that was fucking classic. Did he say eat hot Cheetos? Because it was.
I had a Donald Trump clip like this.
Yeah, get that Donald Trump clip for me. That. He said, "Wash they pussy in the sink." Oh my goodness, that was fucking funny. That was fucking funny. All right, damn, I done lost the original clip. Hold on, let me get the other one back up. Yeah, that wasn't a hot Cheeto. It's another one where he said, where through all that list of things he threw in, eat hot Cheetos. But
and wash their pussy in the sink, bro. Like Tucker really knows these hoes. I kind of wish that was a real clip. Like if that was the real Tucker, it would only make me like you even more. Like please let that be real. He need to co-sign that.
Yeah, it wasn't real, but I concur with everything AI me said. I'm with it. But, all right. Wait, hold on real quick. I don't got it up yet. Thought I had it up.
Giving the people who put him in exactly what they thought
Let
they
me
were
back
going to
up
get
some
from
because I missed it.
Giving it in a temperature kind of call.
Yeah, you talking about the Biden administration, how they was just calling him, they just checking his temperature. They wasn't really trying to do shit with him, giving him the runaround, basically.
You know, take my temperature kind of call. We'll get to it, but you know, they never got to it or never planned to. Matter of fact, the guy left the administration, so you know, after talking to him for a year or so, he was gone, and then you know we were left really with no one to continue the conversations.
What do you think of Biden?
I don't think he's given the people who put him in exactly what they thought they were going to get from him.
But his most loyal voters, according to the polls anyway, are black voters, particularly black women.
Mm-hmm.
And
particularly black women that wash their pussy in the sink and eat.
I'm telling you, bro, Tucker is good at this. He is the man at this. Like, how do you not associate this shit now? I mean, you just threw that in there with the whole hot Cheetos washing their pussy in the sink clip, but like he was still on point with that question. Like, so black women love Biden. What do you think about that?
Oh my goodness. All right, let's go.
and just anyway are black voters, particularly black women.
Mm-hmm.
And those numbers don't seem to change. So no matter what happens or doesn't happen. So do you expect they ever will change?
You know, whether they become independents and not vote for anybody who's not bringing it, you know, it's like people want your vote. They have to do something to earn it. If they don't earn it, why are you going down there and pulling that lever?
Because the other side hates you. That's the pitch they make. We may suck, but the other side hates you.
You're supposed to dance with the person you brought.
Yeah.
You know? And the person that brought you to the dance, you guys are supposed to dance together. And if that doesn't happen, you got to go find another dancing partner before the night is up and the music stops.
What do you think of Kamala Harris?
I mean, obviously she's a great politician to be able to become the vice president of the country. I don't know how.
By the way, that's a jab. Like, that's an insult. You know, whenever somebody says he's a great politician, like Republicans used to say that about Barack Obama. Hey, he's a great politician. You know, to pull off becoming president, he's a great politician. I give him that. He's a good politician. That's a jab. So let's be clear in that. Whenever somebody says that somebody's a good politician, that they're basically saying a bad candidate.
How effective she is at her job.
My bad. They're basically saying like a bad candidate, a bad, leader, not a good person to be in that position. But hey, they're an effective politician because they pull it off getting into that position. That was a jab. So he ain't saying it bluntly, but he don't fuck with Mala. That's what I gathered from that.
What's your view of the police at this point?
It's the same. They it really is. It's like looking at like what's your view of the military? Like they're the military. They're always gonna be the military. If I asked you this in 1946, you'd be like, they're the military.
Yeah.
So it's a fraternity. It's an organization that does things a certain way. And I think
Dr. Thunder, if you're still listening, check your email. Well, I'm about to float that link out to you right now. But check your email.
Their philosophy sometimes is detrimental to the people they're serving, because I think cops have a win and make it home philosophy. Win whatever battles you have in the street, make it home at night. And that's actually the most important thing. And everything else, people's rights, doing things the right way, being totally fair and square all the time and not, being a little aggressive,
what's interesting about this?
Comes
hold on.
Second.
I wonder if we could find, like, let's track down some old like MTV or BET clips of Ice Cube in the mid-90s, and somebody asked him what he thinks about police. I wonder how far apart 90s Cube is on the police versus 2023 Cube is. And I'm not even saying that to like slight him or pick at him in any way, but what I'm noticing is the wisdom of age. Like, with age comes wisdom. And it's not so much that the police are just your natural born enemy, even as like some black kid in the hood or whatever, but it's like, listen, they have something to worry about, just like you. They got their own set of concerns, and he's kind of taking a very, very like reasoned out approach to this question right now.
Yeah, he is. He I mean, he took an angle on it. I'll say it was almost like a political answer, to where he said something, but he ain't say a whole lot. He said his view is the same, but he didn't, really go off, so it was measured. It was measured, but that is an interesting thing. I do think Tucker was kind of fishing to see if he was, going to say his position on the police was different. I do think Tucker was definitely fishing for that, and probably did want to hear him say that, but so yeah, he gave a calculated response. He definitely gave a calculated response on that. He says, well, shout out to It Is What It Is with a $10 super chat. Says, washing they pussy in the sink with a dirty tube sock. pH more acidic than ketchup. Yeah.
What do we get for $10? Everything you want.
Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. All right.
Oh, I think we should look at this video clip in the back chat.
Yeah,
I think RM.
I'm getting it ready right now. I think she found a clip of what you were asking for. At least I think. I haven't seen it. We're gonna watch it live on the air. Somebody asking him, so what's your thoughts on the police or something? I have no idea what's going to be said, but let's pull it up right now. And we are joined by Dr. Thunder. We'll get him in on this momentarily, but in the meantime, let me see what we got going here. I need give me a couple clicks and we will have the clip up and ready to go. All right, where the hell is it? Okay, now I don't got the clip. Shit. Okay, it didn't. It's because the download failed. Okay, cool. Well, hold on. Okay, I got to do it this way. I was trying to do it a quicker way that took longer.
Yeah, I hate when my shortcuts take longer.
Mm-hmm. But here we go. Here we go.
And even if you've never heard of him, your kids have. His first solo album, America's Most Wanted, has sold over 1 million copies, and that's just by word of mouth. The radio stations won't play it. Too vulgar, too angry, too violent.
Don't try to apprehend him.
You can't with the criminal. Rapping over gangster shit. First I load the clip and
his music is a chronicle of the killings.
Oh wait, no, she gave me a timestamp. My bad. 58-second mark. Okay.
Situation.
All you motherfuckers in Houston is most wanted.
You sing a lot about violence in the community. Yeah. You've seen violence firsthand?
Most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah, it's like, yo, out of all the kids I grew up with, at least 13 of them are dead. And that's before they even reach 21. You know, I just turned 21, so, you know, I thank God that I've reached 21.
The fact is, a lot of black kids don't. The leading cause of death among young black men in America is homicide.
It's like a war on black young males with baseball cap and t-shirt. I'm an endangered species myself.
So Ice Cube wrote a song called Endangered Species.
Do we talk about the police specifically in this clip? Because that's what I was looking for. Do we talk about the police specifically in the clip? Because all right, I'm gonna go back to the Tucker thing. If it was a comment where he was interviewed about the police and somebody asked him a question in a similar way, then that would have been an interesting thing. Just a random Ice Cube interview. We can go back to this one, but we joined by Dr. Thunder. But so what's up? Welcome to the show, Dr. Thunder. What's your overall thoughts and take on what's been going on in the discussion so far with the whole thing with Ice Cube?
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. Thanks for the link, all that. I enjoy your interactions. Especially on this Saturday morning stuff with Hood Conservative. So that's why I was requesting to be involved if you'd like me to be. So thanks for that. It's interesting. I thought that this interview was a very good interview. I thought it was a very good interview, and Tucker did a good job of giving Ice Cube an opportunity to address certain things, perhaps a more mature version of the way that he addressed it in the past, but not necessarily a departure from his sort of core. He's going to talk. I can't recall if you guys covered this yet, but he's going to talk about rappers being more open-minded, and in particular more open-minded than academics, which is interesting. I think that's definitely true, by the way. So yeah, I thought it was interesting, and I think that black men are in an interesting position as far as the conservatism conversation. So there's like a spectrum, of conservatism, I suppose, and black men tend to be perhaps further on the left side of that spectrum of conservatism, primarily because of the racial stuff. I mean, one of the issues that black men have with dealing with Republicans in particular is Republicans want to try to, for the most part, marginalize the lived experience of black men. I mean, we were facing discrimination. There's obviously issues that we face along those lines, and they want to sort of marginalize those. And so that puts us in a strange position as far as the Republicans go, and then obviously the Democrats are obviously aggressively working against our interests in deliberately driving a chasm between a wedge between black men and black women by seemingly addressing some of their issues, but by not addressing our issues at all. I was just at the Freedom Fest 2023. It was in Memphis this year, and we've been expanding some of the more sort of cultural and black male-oriented kind of stuff that's actually happening at that conference, which is interesting. I think there's a lot of possibilities. I did a panel called Black American Music, the Memphis Impact on American Music, and one of my panelists was Daryl Davis. And Daryl Davis, the black man that has converted over 200 Ku Klux Klansmen. Yes, that Daryl Davis. He was interviewed by Joe Rogan and like this. And this conference has turned into a very interesting conference because you have progressives that are there, but you have everything else on this political spectrum, from libertarians, Green Party folks, Republicans, Democrats. Robert Kennedy Jr. was one of the speakers, one of the main speakers. So it's that kind of an event, and I noticed, and I'm starting to notice that more black men, actually, black people in general, present at that particular conference, because I think across the political spectrum, and this includes the sort of centrist Democrats, folks are recognizing that there's a big problem, and it needs to be solved. So the black conservative, being labeled a black conservative, is a challenge for black men, because obviously it's framed as a pejorative when people say that you black Republican or you black conservative. But the best description of my values, it's definitely more conservative than it is liberal. So it puts us in a weird sort of.
Wait, say that last part again. What'd you say?
I said it puts us in a weird position because.
No, you said what's more conservative than liberal?
No. I said what I said was I suppose my values are clearly more conservative.
Okay.
Than they are liberal. That's definitely the case. And so if I had to lean in a direction, I suppose I would choose conservative. But there's a lot of baggage that seems to go along with that. And so you have to figure out how to nuance the discussion so that it doesn't turn into a you just hate yourself because you're black and all that kind of crap.
Yeah, no doubt. That's definitely a situation that I think black people, more specifically black men, are in. But the stigma and everything that comes with it, it's imposed from within stigma. I mean, I guess, well, I won't even say I guess, definitely white liberals get in on it, on the whole part of trying to shame a black person when they're not a Democrat, when they're not a liberal. But black people are definitely heavy on that too. But let's roll some more of the interview. Let's roll some more of it.
Well, real quick. Before we go there, let me just point something out though about the white liberal, and I see this on Twitter all the time. White people, I mean, black people are very, very quick to jump on instances of like racism or racial aggression from white people to black people. So whenever there's like a moment in the social media that something like that pops up, it tends to go viral. Except for when a white liberal is calling a black man a coon or an Uncle Tom or any kind of racially pejorative language because he's not a black person who votes with the Democrats. It's weird how white liberals get to be openly racist in that moment.
100%. That's I totally noticed that, and as an academic and working at a major university, one of the largest in the country, that is full of is a lot of white liberals. It's it's a PWI, a lot of white liberals, and there are clearly topics that you can't mention, and clearly perspectives, especially as a black man, that you need to stay away from. It's a sort of difficult sort of threading the needle kind of thing. I did want to say this one last thing, and I just did a conversations with Dr. Thunder. It premiered this morning with Preeti Upala, and I met her at the conference at the Freedom Fest, and she's a geopolitical expert, and she's all over the place. She's from India. She has a really interesting story. She's like a beauty queen slash banker slash whatever. I mean, all kinds of stuff that she's doing. And after our interview was over, she says to me, "Hey, do you know who Kevin Samuels is?" So I didn't record this part of it, but hey, do you know who Kevin Samuels is? And then we talked a little bit about Kevin Samuels, and she said the same thing that a lot of people say, well, I didn't really like his tone, but what he was saying was definitely the truth. So I think it's interesting that even in the political arena, it's obvious that the Black manosphere in particular is having a massive impact.
Win the encounter, make it home at night.
Okay, so I gotta deal with this in the chat room. Hold on. It's an interesting statement, but let's see. Hold on. Oh shoot! Now I can't find it. Clue just said, I just want your thoughts on this. The Clue channel just said, you have to be Democrat to be black. So screw black. What do y'all think about that statement?
Don't force me to choose. That's kind of the problem inherent in the black male independent thinking sort of paradigm. There comes a line where if I start to question certain things, if I start to be intellectually curious down a certain path of logic, then the black collective will ostracize me. And now it's like either I have to stop thinking about what I've been thinking about, or abandon my connection to the so-called black collective. And so it's basically like if you make a person choose, you might not get the choice you like.
Yeah, this is interesting because right now in the space, and this is something that's cyclical. There's different sort of battles between this faction and that faction within the Black manosphere. There's like this sort of 1.0 versus 2.0 sort of battle that's going on right now.
That's the stupidest shit ever. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. I think it's counterproductive because, see, I'm not a tribalist. I belong to a tribe. I came from a tribe. but I'm not a tribalist. And so you don't have to look like me. You don't have to come from where I came from. And you don't have to agree with me or say the same things that I say for me to have a meaningful, impactful conversation with you and for ideas to be exchanged in the potential for both parties to learn something. And that's more interesting to me. This sort of 1.0, 2.0 discussion that's going on right now is sort of it's somewhat analogous to the white paper, BTC versus BCH, you know, or you know, discussions about the what is the true church, you know, or discussions about you know, any number of things, and it starts to become like a chicken or the egg sort of conversation at one point. I don't want to have that. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in folks forcing me to be in a certain box, because I'm not supposed to. Actually, theoretically, someone like me is not supposed to exist, right? So I'm a tenured professor. I have a doctorate. You know, I have a 420 bench. I thought I'd throw that in there. And there's a number of other things that I do that, and where I came from, I grew up in the country, right? On a dirt road. It's still a dirt road. You know, there's a long list of things that make me an anomaly. And so it's perhaps that makes it easier for me to not choose and to, you know, I'm not going to choose. I'm not going to choose that. I'm going to choose the option that allows me to still interact with all the people that I want to interact, doing the things that I want to do, because I'm in control of my own destiny. I don't require the cosign, the blessing, the endorsement, you know, of some other group. It's part of the reason, and this is no heat, no hate to people that are in fraternities, but it's one of the reasons that I did not pledge for a fraternity. It's because that's just, you know, I'm an individual. I'm going it alone, and I'm collecting information as I go. And ultimately, that's really what everyone is. Everyone is really in that same boat. Just some people are willing to recognize it, and some people are not.
Yeah, just going back to Clue's comment. I just think it's sort of a ridiculous comment. You know, if you have to be Democrat to be black, so screw black. It's like somebody is saying something, and it's like you don't have to accept their premise. Like, it's so easy to reject the premise and then move forward, but it's almost like you're being a rebel, but also a follower too. It's a weird thing to say. Well, if this is what I have to do to be accepted by y'all, then I'm going to denounce this thing. Just say fuck y'all and y'all premise. So that's just a weird stance that you take to basically say to disavow being black. Like, I can't disavow being 6'1", just like I can't disavow being black, but I can say I culturally don't do some of the things that a lot of people within that culture do, because I think it's counterproductive. Just like if people over 6'1" was going around slapping old ladies, I could say, okay, I'm 6'1", I can't change that, but I'm not an old lady slapper. So it's just a weird thing.
I think that's where the.
But you're black.
That's kind of where the battle is.
But you're black, so you probably did it.
But see, Dr. Thunder, I think you kind of get it though. Like, there is a sort of reputation and an image that is built into the blackness that it's preordained. Like, you come into that, you have nothing to do with the reputation that blackness has. You have nothing to do with the stereotypical set of behaviors that people think of when you say black or blackness, right? So as a black man, it does kind of present you with this option of like, well, maybe I should just turn my back on all the stereotypical black things. That's why you get the Carlton archetype. That's what made Carlton so endearing. He was obviously black, but he was so not black.
I get that from a standpoint that he culturally didn't come off as black, but you can still be black but not culturally come off in the way that you're expected to come off. So to go back to what Clue is saying, who am I following? You're allowing other people who you don't agree with, you're giving them the authority to define something. You're giving them the authority to define you in a roundabout way. Even though you're rejecting it by saying you're not black, but it's also, I think the correct response is, who the fuck are y'all to say what it is? Who the fuck are y'all to define it
Right.
in this narrow way that it could only be that way? Like that conversation. It's actually a clip of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where that conversation played out. They didn't want to let Carlton into a particular fraternity, and
You were reading my mind, bro. I was thinking about that exact moment because it identifies everything we're talking about here, where it's like everybody in the whole episode is black. I don't think you saw a white person in that whole episode. However, this group of black people is kicking Carlton out of the club of blackness for no reason other than they don't like his behavior. And so the point I was trying to bring up, it's not Carlton who's doing it. You're forcing him to choose. And why would he choose the thing that hates him for being who he is?
Right. And he shouldn't choose that the fuck shit. I agree. But if you define the fuck shit as black and black only, then that's how you can logically get to the argument, well, I'm not black. I think my argument is it's not black and it's not only. It's not only that. It's not only that narrow thing. I think we should fight for many different manifestations of black, just like there's many different manifestations of white. So that's
that's a great point. Black is a term that means a whole lot of different things, and so even if you were to answer the question with a I choose black or I choose whatever the other option was, then you're still not necessarily choosing what it is you think you're choosing, because they may have a different thing that they mean by black. When they say black, they could mean swag, a swagged out pookie. That could be what they mean. When they say black, they could mean anyone with that's with melanin that is a direct descendant of Africa. They could mean ADOS or FBA, or they could mean anyone from the diaspora. They could mean anything as long as it's not white. And then of course the question is, what is white? Because white is actually was a term that was designed by white supremacists to separate folks that never define themselves as white. They define themselves as maybe British or as Italian or as whatever like this. They didn't associate themselves with this white and black, and so that whole dynamic actually, it's a lot more depth there. There's a lot more nuance there. So even if you answer the question, there would have to be significant list of backup questions for them to have an idea of what it was that you were even agreeing to.
All right. I do want to move on and play some more of the clip. SKC is asking, so what is black based on? What is white based on? What is Hispanic, Latino based on? What is Middle Eastern based on? What is anything based on? Like, I don't even understand the question. I said that different groups of people, they manifest in many different ways, just like the white people they're split down the middle between Democrat and Republican. They, or damn near split down the middle. Man, maybe they lean more right. Who knows?
Well, I think you kind of like unwittingly perhaps explained the conundrum in the question, because white and black don't compare to Hispanic or Latino or Arab or Persian, because
yeah,
you
you read my
basically
mind.
named ethnicities and identities that are associated with particular regions and locales. Those are more traditional human group identifiers than black or white. Black and white is a very like new modern kind of discernment between the groups. Before there was a true before we had this modern setup of black versus white, it was just, tribe on tribe and the regions of people versus other regions. It wasn't really just this artificial black-white concoction, because I think it is very artificial. It's not necessarily based on totally objective standards, other than obvious skin color. I mean, the skin color is an obvious one, but people haven't really identified by that traditionally, historically.
But even skin color is on the spectrum, right? And so when we say black, it's kind of like we're saying, okay, at least if you're at least this dark, then we're calling you black. So there's a variety of shades. So yeah, the discussion gets very and you don't want to explain away the meaning of stuff by getting too nuanced and or bore folks to death with that. But that is an important aspect of that discussion, because you have to know what it is that you're actually agreeing to. Somebody is giving you an ultimatum. Well, what do you mean by this ultimatum? I don't even know what you're saying. Say some words that actually are more descriptive, and then maybe I'll take your deal. Otherwise, keep it moving.
All right, let's get back into the tape, into the interview here.
And you can't really fault somebody for thinking that way as a police officer, but that's the philosophy. So everything else comes second to that. So guy might not care if he violated your rights. He's going to win this encounter. He's going to make it home tonight. And that's all that matters. And sometimes I think that's what we see is an organization hell-bent on winning, and not a fraternity or organization hell-bent on upholding the law and doing everything right or by the book, so to speak.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's just the nature of
Can I add something here?
That fraternity.
Yeah, I think this is a really good way to describe police in a way that doesn't demonize them, so that people can sort of understand why they would have that sort of perspective. I certainly want to get back to my family at the end of the night. I have a son. I want to be able to provide for my family. It's a dangerous job, so you sort of understand that. But then you can also understand, because implied in this is the failure of the system. It's the police system, the policing system. It's the administration within the policing system, I believe, that has to actually make the biggest change. And so isolating certain officers as bad apples, yes, you have to do that. But unless you actually address the structure that is creating this issue, obviously the person with the boots on the ground that's actually facing, facing potential death every time, they stop someone, every time they interact with someone. Obviously that's probably the best way to think about it. When, just as Cube said, win the particular situation and make it home. I mean, that seems like a win. So I just thought that was a good way to frame that.
Maybe of organizations.
Yeah, is they come with a philosophy, and you can try to buck it if you want to, but more than likely they're gonna get you out the way and stay in formation.
Do you think that it's harder to be a man in America now than it was when you were a kid?
Yes. Saying what you feel, being yourself, is
I like this
what
next
they call
exchange
toxic.
coming up.
We shouldn't be called toxic for our instincts and for I was born this way. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
why can't we be ourselves? We were born this way too.
So there are some groups.
Yeah, everything about that really demonstrates that he rejects a lot of the modern, more recent bullshit coming from the left, because everything that he just described right there, I mean, they trying to rework all that into policy or work all that into policy, but that's a definite strong clapback to the "we was born this way, people accept us," blah blah blah. And he's saying, okay, we're men, we were born this way, accept us. We're gonna behave in a way that you're gonna think is toxic and is gonna hurt your feelings from time to time. Accept it. We was born this way. Like, yeah.
I think the transgender community by existence has destroyed the born this way movement.
Oh shit.
You can't have it both. You can't have transgenders and proud to be born this way. It's not. It's just philosophically incongruent. They're going to fight each other.
What do each of you feel about the because one thing that I have said about the whole rainbow thing is I don't have any heat or fire against the individuals in the movement, the folks that they just trying to live their life, and maybe even some folks where the boots are on the ground, where they sort of bought whatever the agenda was, and they're just basically the foot soldiers. I don't have a lot of heat for them. The folks that I have the heat for is the agenda itself. It's the folks that strategize the agenda and the sort of nefarious reasons. Because I actually believe that the rainbow community is being used, and this agenda doesn't even really care about them.
That's a different angle. I haven't heard nobody say that from the perspective of they're being used. The agenda don't really care about them. I do make a distinction between just the run-of-the-mill gay person versus the agenda. Normally when I'm doing any criticizing of it, it's normally against nine times out of 10 it's against the agenda, unless an individual was just saying something absolutely egregious, like the show I did when I was talking about Jess Hilarious and the trans chicks. That was basically they basically biological born males saying that they can define what womanhood is and all of that stuff. I mean, that's just goofy and that's stupid. So obviously I'm going to criticize an individual if they're saying something stupid, but overall it's the pushing of it from the agenda standpoint that I'm always going to give 90% of my criticism to. And I guess what I'm curious of is, how is it that you think that the people who are on the ground don't really support the agenda? Are you saying that they're sort of like, black people who just support whatever the Democrat agenda is, even if it's anti or more in favor of another group, but they still just support it because that's the party line? Is that what you're more or less saying?
Yeah, I'm saying that folks based on actual. So some folks have a certain negative lived experience, and I'm not denying that to folks just because they're in the rainbow community, right? So they have a particular lived experience. It could be really negative. They could have had some bad things happen to them, and I think they're being taken advantage of, right? So they're sort of weaponizing that sort of whatever that negative experience was, which is making them more susceptible to be controlled, and to sort of drink the Kool-Aid fully. So I think that's definitely happened. So you have lemmings, right? You always have lemmings in a movement. So I don't really blame the lemmings. I'm more blaming what got the lemmings running in that direction in the first place, and what was their sort of agenda. Because I actually think, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Agenda 21. Anything that seeks to lower the overall population on planet Earth, which of course supporting and pushing rainbow stuff would have that tendency to do that, they're fans of. And so I actually think that the whole rainbow thing is actually a cover for Agenda 21.
Go ahead, Hood. It sounds like you was kind of trying to jump in on a few parts.
I just tend to look at it like this. Most of us at this point probably have like a gay relative, you know, the gay cousin, the gay uncle or whatever. And so I don't look at it from the personal, like one-to-one. I think of it, I try to separate these two concepts, right? The person isn't necessarily the politics. So I may dislike the politics of homosexuality. I definitely dislike the practice of it, right? However, those are two different things. So I'm not going out of my way to give like any random gay person a hard time. Like that's the last thing I need to do is be some random gay person's enemy. However, the politics of it, it's definitely setting you guys up to be my enemy. And that's a tough thing to not notice. Like once you notice it, you can't unnotice it. And so like it does seem like there are darker things at play than just, you know, two guys want to do weird stuff together. It seems like there are way darker things at play here.
Right.
Yeah, and just stay away from my kid. Stay away from my kid. You know, that's honestly that's the reason I even say anything about the rainbow stuff at all, is because of their aggression towards kids. I mean, they're aggressively pushing this stuff, and it's one of the reasons why I continually say, you know, I mean, this is why my son will never be in public school. He's going to be in private school the whole way. That's because I can't risk it. And you know that stuff disproportionately impacts black boys. No, I'm not risking it.
All right.
Say I'm trans, and people say that's great. You were born that way.
You know what I mean? Like, why can't we be ourselves? We were born this way too.
So there are some groups, like if I say I'm trans, and people say that's great. You were born that way. We affirm you. But if you say I'm just a dude with male instincts, you're not affirmed. You're attacked.
Yeah, I mean, everybody doesn't really have to affirm you. You know, if I wake up and say, you know, I feel like a pigeon, and I want everybody to treat me like a pigeon. Some people may say, whatever, Q, we treat you like a pigeon. But some people may choose to be like, dude, no. That's your world. I'm not part of it. And I have to be ready for that. It's a big world out here. Everybody doesn't have to adhere to me.
That's called narcissism, right?
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah. Seems like you're trying to bend the universe to your will. And it don't work like that.
We've been talking almost all day now. You haven't mentioned race a single time. We've mentioned economics, rich and poor, a number of times. Do you think that we overplay the role of racial conflict in American life?
Yes. I think race, it takes up too much space. There's people that we all have in our lives who are same race that we can't stand. And there's people in our lives from other races that we get along with way better. So it's not about race. It's not about color and gender and this and that. It's about who do you connect with? You know, who do you vibrate with? You know what I mean? Who's on the same wavelength? Who wants to be the same kind of person? Who wants to do the right thing when you want to do the right thing? That's who you connect with. So I think a lot of people make a lot of money off of the racists fighting against each other and bickering. And they the ones who push it in our face all the time that we're separate. And
does feel like there's more of that, doesn't there?
Yeah, it seems like it's like you're stuck in a bad movie and you can't get out. Like you can't find the exit and it continues to play on the screen. and you're just running around looking for the exit, and this bad movie continues to just haunt you day by day by day by day. That's what we're caught in.
All right. What's your thoughts on?
Yeah. Pause it real quick.
What he's saying? Yeah. No, I'll pause it. Yeah. What's your thoughts on what he's saying about about race and everything?
I actually agree with that. I mean, shocking, right? But I think Black people, Black America, more than any other group, is the group that's trapped in the theater being forced to watch the same racial drama over and over again. I mean, that's kind of what happens during Black History Month. You turn on your TV and there's some story about why you should be angry at white people. And every February it's like this. And so other groups, especially like the white people, are sort of forced to suffer the consequences of that. But I think Black people, more than anybody, are the ones, when he's talking about somebody having to keep watching this replay over and over again. It's like it's always the bridge at Selma. It's always 1966. It's never modern day. It's never now. It's always the racial fight of back then, and that's it's racism Groundhog Day every day.
Damn.
Racism, racism Groundhog Day. That's a yeah.
Hold on. Before I pass it to you, Dr. Thunder, Robert J. Carmichael, thank you for the $20 Cash App. Do appreciate that. Do appreciate you dropping $20. Go ahead, Dr. Thunder. You got it.
All right, and then after this comment, I'm gonna have to drop down. Thanks for inviting me, and I'll try to come through, and like I said, anytime you want. But okay, so the race thing is very complicated. Is very complicated, and I know that some people just think that it's simple, right? Oh, it's this simple thing. Just stop talking about it, X, Y, and Z, and then it'll go away. The sort of Morgan Freeman approach. And although I really resonate with that, for the most part, there are some nuances that have to be accounted for, because what's happening is, and Ice Cube brings this up in this interview. Black people, which make up about 12 to 13% of the population, our community only has access to less than half of 1% of the resources, right? And that's a problem. And then you have to trace that back. What caused that? Why is that the case? And if people are going to continue to use the arguments, well, the reason is like this is because of you no good dusty ninjas. That's the problem. Is because it's you guys created this issue. You guys are lazy, no good, good for nothing. Basically, divester talk, right? And so the problem is, however, once you've made the argument, you have to move off of that argument if other people accept it or not. If all you do is just raise that argument, but you're not doing anything to improve your situation, you're not doing anything to make the lives better of your family, of your friends, of people that are in your community, of people on your job, then it doesn't really matter, right? And so, in one sense, I would prefer people that aren't actually productive to shut up about it, become productive first, then you can start talking about it. Okay, so that's the catch.
Real quick, that's the catch, right? Once you become productive, you have less impetus to talk about racial oppression. The more productive you are, the less you even notice these things. Now, you might have incidents and moments where you clearly run up against something where it's like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. But by and large, there are way too many successful, productive Black people for that to be the state of affairs every single day.
Yeah, but there still is this point that I made that for a population that's about 12 to 13%, we only have access to about less than 1% of the resources. So even if you have individuals that have been able to defy the odds, that's not a good assessment of or evaluation of the success of the system. So the system must be evaluated based on the average Joe. What is the average Joe's experience? And it is clear that the average Joe, if he's Black, their experience is not the same as the experience from other communities. And that's just that on average, that's what happens. Does it mean that you have to stay stuck there? No, not necessarily. That's not my argument. But as a productive person myself, as a six-figure, person myself, a tenured professor, somebody that's successful in my career, the reason that I want to discuss this is not for my own sake. It's not because I think I'm going to improve something in my own experience. In fact, because I have this sort of disposition, this sort of get it done, get it out the mud, do it yourself, no matter what, stop making excuses, all of that. That's the disposition that I have for myself. Because I have that disposition, I was able to defy a lot of odds and get to a certain place. But I'm an outlier. And it's an unfair, it's the principle of the Pharisees in the Bible. Okay. See, one of the things that people miss is that the reason the Pharisees were really, really, so first of all, they were great at what they did. Okay, there's nothing in the Bible saying that they were not that they were not knowledgeable, that they were not good at what they did. They were very good at what they did, but the problem was that they were good in areas that they were set up to be good. So somebody else did something that set them up to be good, and then they were judging other people by criteria where they themselves were not set up to be good in that way. That's a problem. And so so for me, I can say I had an advantage that other people didn't have. I'm not going to judge other people based on the advantages that I had, right? So you have to evaluate the system and how the system is either helping or hurting folks. Now,
real quick, I
Go
want to jump in and say this on what you said. I think what you just explained, I think what's at the core of that, and sometimes I could be wrong on this, but sometimes I think this could be like the difference in what makes somebody lean more conservative or lean more liberal is when you talk about the Black people having access to or currently holding, I won't even say access to, but just currently holding roughly 1% of the total wealth in the country. What it comes down to is, do you think that is mostly and currently because of the system itself, or do you think that the problem is more cultural, more from a perspective of things that the decisions that, I mean, is it in the hands of things that the people can do? When you talk about things that the people can do, you don't want to just look at it. I mean, I understand completely what you're saying. You don't want to just look at it as yourself, as just a driven individual. You worked hard, you're smart, you went to school, you got a PhD, you make six figures. You don't want to look at it strictly as yourself. You want to look at it with a wide lens, from a macro standpoint. But from a macro standpoint, is it more of a problem that the culture is corrupt or the system is corrupt? And I think that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. No, that's a hard question, and some of that is sort of a chicken or the egg sort of question. And so definitely the system definitely contributed to the state of the community, but that can't be, you can't just refer to that and say and continue to just blame that all the time. Individuals have to do what they can do, but then also, like I'm saying, once an individual gets out, they have to be willing to try to help somebody else, and even if it's just through making certain arguments. The reason I make the arguments I make is because, you know, I have a son. My son is 9. He'll be 10 next month. And there are issues that are going to disproportionately penalize him from the other kids that he's in the same classroom with. Okay, and that's just that is just a fact. That is just true. Now, he's been set up. Me and his mom, my wife, we're still together. We're going to stay together. We're going to do whatever we have to do. We kicking his butt, making sure that he does all the right stuff, right? But even with all of that, he still likely can have more of a challenge doing things than other folks. And if I want to see that improve, I'm addressing things about the system that I think can be improved, tweaked, adjusted. That's not the same as me saying, you know, whining and complaining about something because I'm not even productive myself, and or blaming the system because I'm not productive. You know, that's not the same thing. It's a different thing. And I do understand Hood Conservative's point about you're going to face less issues as you get yourself out of the mud, and as you sort of get to a different sort of stratosphere, you're going to experience less of those issues. But that doesn't mean that people that haven't gotten that out the mud yet, you know, can't be helped by at least acknowledging that this is not just an issue of a bunch of good for nothing whining and complaining, brothers, basically, because the general society doesn't blame black women for the state of the black community, so they're blaming us. So anyhow, that's I'm going to leave it there, but thank you very much, and thanks for all the time you let me talk. I was a little long-winded, but thank you very much.
Can I just ask you, please?
Sure, go ahead.
You mentioned earlier that the Republicans try to marginalize black Republicans. I would just like you to expound upon that and give us your meaning of that and what that looks like from your perspective.
Yeah. So first of all, I want you to know something about me. I'm a third party guy. I voted for Republicans. At times, reluctantly, I voted for Democrats, but that's been kind of ancient history. And I think the situation that we find ourselves in is the progressives obviously don't have black men's interests at heart. So that, in my mind, for a free-thinking straight black man, makes them not a real option for me. And plus, I'm a Christian and I have certain values, and it makes it very hard for me to vote for them. However, there are certain social programs that the Democrats historically have offered that I think have actually, by the numbers, been of some assistance to black people, usually mostly to black women, but some to black men also. And so to that extent, I'd be supportive of some of those social programs. The Republicans, where I agree more ideologically on less government, lower taxes, X, Y, and Z, a lot of that stuff, and where at least it doesn't seem that they have a full-on assault against masculinity, although both parties, Democrats and Republicans, are full girl power. Now they don't talk like it. The Republicans don't necessarily talk like it, but both parties have fully embraced girl power. But for a black Republican, the challenge is, and where the Republicans are going to have to address this, they have been somewhat of a safe haven for white nationalists, right? And so that's an issue that they're going to have to resolve. They're going to have to admit it, apologize for it, and then move forward.
No, they don't.
Dr. Thunder, I wanted to actually point something out. Excuse me. Yeah, I did want to point something out, Doc, and it's not even to jump at you directly, Dr. Thunder, but this is a concept that I was just speaking about this morning as I talked about Chicago and the immigration and all these migrants that are being dumped in every black city across the country. They're not dumping these people and the lily white upper class liberals. They're not dumping in these people with the white folks who want them over here. They're dumping these people in the black neighborhoods. And what I pointed out is, had we actually made the same way Ice Cube a few minutes ago spoke about, talking to your enemies, had we made a deal, had we come to some type of detente with these so-called white nationalists, it would be us and them in this country and not us getting muscled out of our neighborhoods by this new immigration army. Because believe me, it's an army. These are young men of fighting age. Very few of them have families and women to care about. And you basically have an army of adventurous men moving into all the black communities who are largely populated by older black women who live alone. That's what I kept seeing in Chicago. That's all I kept seeing is niggas' grandmothers talking about how evil the immigrants are and they're harassing us and they're robbing us. And I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe the racist white man wasn't the worst deal ever.
And if I could chime in on this, because in respect, Dr. Thunder, I've been on his show before. Salute to him. But you're wrong, bro. I'm sorry. Because a couple of things. You talk about white nationalism. Number one, Richard Spencer voted for Biden. In an interview with Dinesh D'Souza, he admitted he voted for Biden. I've played videos of white men in Alabama and in Mississippi who talk about how all their Klansmen and neo-Nazi family are Democrats. Those white boys in Charlottesville with their tiki torches, they were marching around a statue of Robert E. Lee, a Democrat. Sir.
I don't dismiss it.
Let me finish. You gotta let me finish, please. White nationalism is not a problem of white Republican politics. It's not. White Republicans and conservatives don't love you. And you should stop asking other races of people to love you and to care about you and to want to do right by you. Because
I don't think Dr. Thunder did that. I don't think Dr. Thunder did that part.
This is where that goes. This is where that thinking ends up.
My thinking, in respect to you, Little Big Nate, good to see you. That's not where my thinking goes. And I think there's more nuance to my. And it would take a while for me to unpack it, but there's more nuance to my argument than that. I of course acknowledge all of the racist history of the Democratic Party. We know that's where the KKK came from. I'm an academic, and 90% of academics are progressives, and I see firsthand the kind of racist stuff that goes on. So I don't think that either party necessarily has some sort of monopoly on racism. I'd say both parties, because human beings are in both parties are racist. But go ahead.
The problem, in my opinion, Dr. Thunder, it's not the structure or the system. The problem is Black people were in line with this free market capitalist, conservative American system after slavery. And in the 60s, they abandoned it for civil rights, leftist ideology, free love, abortion, welfare, and all the other madness of the Luciferian left. Okay? That's the problem. The problem isn't the structural system and the suppressist white supremacist structure. That stuff, it's nonsense largely. Most Black people are not dealing with racism in any kind of way that affects their life negatively. I was on TPOT, I don't know, last year sometime, and he was doing something about black and white and the race game, I think he called it. There was a Black woman up there. Well, first he went to somebody's stream and invited all the leftist Black men to come and debate all the right-leaning Black men. The right-leaning Black men showed up, me, Hood, I think Freedman's Journal was up there, a couple others. None of the leftist Black men showed up, oddly enough, okay? But a woman came up on the platform, all right? And she was defending the idea that, America's racist. So I asked her, I said, madam, can you tell me about the racism you faced? Because 99% of Black people's racism is something they're living vicariously through somebody they saw on the television or some story they heard. You notice Black people never tell you about the racism they faced. And that's a problem, Dr. Thunder, because we can't live vicariously other people. So
I understand your point.
I didn't finish. I gotta finish. I'm getting this reverb too. Hold on a sec. Make sure I'm not.
No, I don't think that's you. I think that's on Dr. Thunder.
Yeah, I think that might be Dr. Thunder. But so the lady comes up and I ask her, I say, madam, could you tell me about the racism you faced? I don't need to hear about anybody else's racism. Tell me about yours. You know what she told me? I swear my right hand to God, if TPOT's in the chat or whatever, he could tell you. Or I think Hood could tell you. She said this. She said, at my job, there was a white lady who came to my desk. She had a cubicle, saw a picture of her with her children and a couple of her nieces and nephews. And the white lady came and asked her, wow, what a nice picture. Are all those your children? I said, ma'am, that's racism? You're qualifying that as racism? You know what she told me? This leftist Black female, she said, yeah, it's a microaggression. I shouldn't have to deal with these microaggressions. I said, oh my God. What would our ancestors who had to face German shepherds and full pressure fire hoses think about this fucking stupidity that so many Black people get up on panels and talk about, the racism they're facing? Fact of the matter is, most of your Black people complain about racism, cannot tell you one bit of racism they faced. I heard this about a month ago on Anton Daniels' channel. He said, hey, come up here and tell me about the racism you faced. Black guy comes up there who works at some kind of, he's a technician. And he said, yeah, there was a guy that told me about a story. He said, no. I want to know about the racism you faced. He said, well, I can't really tell you anything. This is the problem. All this structural hate and racism and white supremacy. And can't nobody fucking verbalize it. Can't nobody tell me what it is. These are just platitudes and pretty words that make everybody feel good. It has to stop. That's all I'm saying. It has to stop, please. And again, no offense to Dr. Thunder.
Yeah. So, and I get your point, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying. Again, my point is more nuanced than that. It's not a black or white issue. Sorry for that. That might be unclear. I'm not talking about racially white, racially black. I'm saying it's not a cut and dry sort of issue. And I think there's a spectrum here. There's a range of views that would be considered more right-leaning, a range of views that would be considered more left-leaning. And if I had to categorize myself, I'd put myself more on the right. But I also see that there are some issues, that are of interest to me that the left-leaning politicians are actually more willing to at least have a conversation about.
What are those?
Now, it doesn't mean. Well, hold up. It doesn't mean. Well, it doesn't mean that I agree with their conclusion, but at least they're willing to have the sort of conversation.
Well, can I say this real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
Since Ice Cube is you got to mute.
Yeah, mute up.
Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, since Ice Cube is the the subject of today's discussion, you say the Democrats are more open. Well, Trump wanted to hear about the Platinum Plan or the contract with Black America, was interested in sitting down and discussing it, seeing how he could possibly incorporate it into his second administration. And what did your Democrats tell Cube? Cube said on Fox Soulless, okay, he said, yeah, Biden said you'd have to wait till after the election. Well, we're 2.5 years after the election, and they haven't met with him. They I won't say it on Bernard's channel, but they STOL it. They got it, but they still haven't met with him. So
yeah, you have to be. Yeah, but you have to be. You need to be. Okay, so that's a straw man, right?
How is that a straw man?
I'm not saying. Well, it's a straw man because I said something about a particular issue that the Democrats, or particular issues that they are at least willing to address, and then you said, well, hold up. Well, certain issues associated with race. There's certain issues associated with race and Black people's experience that Democrats are going to be more willing to have that discussion. I didn't say that I was going to necessarily agree with what they say, but at least they seem to be more willing to have that discussion. Now, hold up. But that's not the same as me wholesaling. Now I'm all Democrat and I'm all progressive and I'm all one particular direction.
Okay.
So that's why I keep saying that you're not going to be able to easily put me on one side or put me on the other side. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
If I can say this real quick and then I'll be quiet. Dr. Thunder, what you're talking about is exactly what happened in California with Governor Newsom. He had the conversation with his reparations committee. And then after the conversation was had, he looked at Black people's faces in California and he spit in their faces like Democrats have always done. These conversations are meaningless. They're meritless. They go nowhere with these devils on the left, period.
So that's what I was going to say. Like, I understand what the doctor is saying, right? I get it. There are certain conversations on the right that they're not willing to have. But the left is having meaningless sort of pat you on the head, sort of let me tell you something that makes you feel something emotionally and offer you absolutely nothing. I've observed the left enough to know that it's just more of a lot of infantilizing than anything else. They're not really having these conversations to get to a point where something meaningful is done. So I think we have to beware of when they're having those conversations. And also, I think there's enough history to prove that it's just bullcrap.
Thank you.
Yeah, but that's not an argument for being a conservative. In my mind, that's an argument for being a third party.
Right.
For being third party, because and so that's what my actual position is. Now,
conservatism is not about a political party.
Well, and that's fine. The reason that I don't usually use the conservative moniker is because most people associate conservatism with Republican. It makes it easier to have the conversation when I say third party, or even if I say something like libertarian. That seems to have
So you're concerned about the ease of a conversation. Well, as men, I'm not worried about the ease of a conversation.
No. I'm concerned about people understanding what I'm saying.
There you go. Exactly.
We keep treating Black people like they're retarded monkeys.
No, it depends on who you're talking to, Nate.
It's like I don't have to like tone down or not use words so I don't offend black people's sensibilities. This has to stop.
But if they don't understand the definitions and you're having a conversation and the communication is not being had and it's not being understood, then
well,
you
that's
have
their
to
fault.
use words.
They need to step up their level of intelligence.
No. Conversation is about two parts. Conversation is about two parts. So the person that is transmitting the information.
So how many black people to step up?
Hold up. Okay, so I'm having I'm going to spell out something that is a general principle. Doesn't matter the race of the people that you're talking about. In any conversation, any communication, both parties have to understand the terminology that's being used.
Right.
And so, and that doesn't matter. You can be super educated and still need to figure out what the terms mean, the nomenclature, the jargon, what it is that you mean, or you could be super uneducated and still have the same issue, right? So it's not an educational issue. It's
not
a
terminology.
I think it's the racism of low expectations, to be honest with you.
That's nonsense because you got white folks that don't understand the association with these words.
No, sir, these conversations have gone on for the last 60 years in Black America, and you still want to play this game with these people. You still want to tiptoe around issues and not offend people, and we can't say
that's not what we're saying, Nate. You're straw man in the game.
Man, we got to dead that.
Nate,
we got to dead all that nonsense.
Nate, you straw man a lot, bro. And
no,
this
yeah.
is more
if you say so. If you say so.
No, I'm saying it right now. What I'm saying is this ain't about tiptoeing or offending nobody.
That's exactly what it's about.
No, this is about communication and people understanding what words mean, and that happens on both sides of the line.
So people have supercomputers in their pocket, and they can't look up what a word means.
None of that is relevant to what we're
Hold on, y'all.
How is it not relevant?
Wait a minute, y'all. Let me say
what a word means in 2 seconds.
Let me say this because I stepped away. Hold on. I stepped away from it for a second. Like, what is the confusion about? Y'all talking about what a word mean? Like, what's going on?
Basically,
my position is black people, and again, no disrespect.
You keep making it about black people, bro.
Nate, are you about to explain what the confusion is that y'all having? Because I was just
the problem is we won't use terms that are going to offend certain people.
That's not.
Dr. Thunder. Nobody said that. Nobody said that. Nobody said that. What I said. Hold up. Let me say what I said. What I said was I usually don't use the conservatism term because it tends to get lumped in with Republicans.
Thank you.
That's why I tend to use the third party.
That has nothing to do with
because Republican is
No, I'm not. No, that's not what I'm saying either.
Okay.
What it is that I'm saying is more nuanced than that. It's not just either or here. It's okay. There's another possibility. So what I'm saying is there are folks that if you say conservative, they lump you in with Republicans. Right. I don't necessarily mind being lumped in with Republicans in a particular context, but if I want them to fully understand what it is that I'm saying and to articulate what my actual positions are, it's more useful for me to come up with a term that is not loaded with the same sort of negative connotation that isn't almost seen as a pejorative, especially if see, I'm an academic, so I tend to, I'm talking to 95% of the faculty, in academic institutions are progressives. And so I've learned how to have conversations that are really detailed and nuanced, where people understand what it is that I'm saying by intentionally avoiding loaded terminology.
Okay, so that's happening, right? And while you're doing that, the left is promoting the grape of children. The left has pot-bellied pedos in their underwear gyrating in front of little kids. I played the video tons of times on my channel. All over these pride parades this year, last month, grown men naked on their bikes, waving to children, their junks hanging out. This filth.
But Nate, that's
everything. And on the right, go around this shit.
Yeah. You keep. I'm sorry. It's my fault because every time I open my mic, it starts echoing, and I was trying to get in with what he was saying. Look, man, you must not know my content very well. I've been very aggressive about the rainbow. Matter of fact, I even talked earlier on this on this same show on this stream about the reason that I push back against the rainbow. So that argument doesn't work because you can do more than one thing at the same time.
Exactly.
And the thing is, and the fact is that I can't control the political perspective of the people that I work with. And so I could just say, okay, well, I'm not going to have any conversations with y'all. I can just dead the conversation, or I can attempt to have the conversation in a way where at least they understand what it is that I'm saying.
And while you're having that conversation, Dr. Thunder, they're arguing that men can have babies and trans women are women.
Oh my
They'll
goodness!
be doing that either way. Nate, I hear you, but we gotta give up the floor, Nate. We really do have to give up the floor.
That's a good call on that one. We do gotta.
All right,
gotta move
I'm out. I'll see y'all later.
All right,
Thanks a lot.
Later, Doc.
Who's jumping out? Oh, Doc Thunder's jumping out.
Yeah, no, he said 30 minutes ago he had to leave. So, but yeah, he became.
I think we sucked him into a battle.
Yeah, he got roped into a battle, so he had to stick around a little longer. But
I mean, I apologize, man, but come on, dog.
Can
How
I
do
jump
we
in here?
have these
I mean,
conversations?
but Nate, I understand exactly what you're saying. Your gripe with him is that when he's out in academia in those circles, he don't wear conservative like
that's
a badge
not
of
my
honor.
problem, Bernard.
It sounds like okay. Well,
No, my problem, Bernard, is the left is promoting the grape of kids. Men can have babies.
Mm-hmm.
People are testifying before Senate subcommittees that men can have babies. And on the other side of the political spectrum, we don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. We don't want to use words like lump them in.
That's not what was being said.
Wait a minute, Nate. I don't think that's what he said, and I will admit that I did get up for a little bit, but I don't think he said I don't want to hurt their feelings.
Nope.
What he's saying is
that's where you extrapolate that out.
Hold on, Nate. I think what he was saying is when he speaks, he wants to be understood, and so he does.
These people don't want to understand things when they tell you men can have babies.
Well, those are the extremists, though, Nate, and the people that wait, Nate, hold on.
Years ago, you would have said this could never happen.
No, I wouldn't have said that because I was reading from Coloring Books to Condom 15 years ago. They was showing like the California shit that was happening, and as California goes, so does the nation, right? So like I'm sitting up here, I was like ahead of like a lot of stuff because I was seeing some of this weird stuff that was coming through the institutions or whatever from some of these Marxists and some of these leftists, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm saying like not everybody that Dr. Thunder works with is like that. And some of these people are the same gaslighters that will tell you if you do not have evidence that is not happening. And I will not be the one to say that. But like, look, Nate, I love you to death, man. But sometimes you need a sword and sometimes you need a pen. And then sometimes you need savages for your battle and your war. But savages won't help you out in every single situation.
Right, I hear you. But
I mean, like, where are your Trojan horses? You know what I'm saying?
My contention is that when they're coming for the children, all bets are off, man.
Yeah, but nobody's supporting that, Nate.
Yeah, we
hold on,
wait, time out.
If we're talking about winning election,
Nate,
the main issue.
Wait a minute. Yeah, let me talk real quick. I think what was trying to be said to you, Nate, is that nobody on this panel supports that.
I understand.
So when you say, all right, so when you say if they're coming for children, all bets are off. You don't know if the person that Dr. Thunder is talking to, that he's trying to make sure is understood by, is coming for children. Like there's things that you may not know in a situation, but you're going kind of hard at Dr. Thunder for not having a hammer in every discussion that he's having with people out in academia, and you don't know the exact position of the person that he was speaking to. Now, broadly, if you're a conservative, you shouldn't your general point I understand. If you're a conservative, you shouldn't tiptoe around it and pussyfoot around with it, because it's clearly people out there they're not pussyfooting them when they, when they're doing the crazy shit that they're doing. So in that sense, we're with you. But in the specific situation that Dr. Thunder was talking about, if I understood it right, I understand he don't have to bring a hammer to every conversation.
Well, you got to understand too that the whole living and working in academia thing, you got to have some like, I guess, empathy for the whole position, because it's like, should the man sacrifice his entire life's work to win an argument with some white person about transgenderism?
No, but you know, when does the only way to stop the advancement of this degeneracy is to stand on principle and cut it down as soon as it shows up. You got to cut this shit down because what happens is you go from gay marriage, you go from gay rights to gay marriage to gay adoption to trans to now the P words because we didn't cut it off when it began.
Nate.
And what happens after the P words, gentlemen? What happens after that? Because we're here now. We are here where they are promoting this. Okay, there are university professors. There's a University of Texas professor early last year wrote a paper, the quote benefits of sexual interactions between adults and children. These people are going for the gusto because they can't turn back now. So my position's always going to be when it's time to have these discussions, if we keep playing this game and keep worrying about whether you want to admit it or not, I heard in Dr. Thunder's summation, worrying about being lumped with Republicans, which I know Black people find offensive. My contention is stop worrying about offending these people.
That's not the context he said that in, though, bro.
So I think it's all disingenuous because the main reason why Black people don't vote Republican has nothing to do with any of that. It's mainly because of the stance of cutting Social Security that everybody has paid into and union busting. Nobody is ever mentioning the main reason.
You think
Trump
that's why
Trump knew that? Trump
becomes a gaslight.
On a tirade.
Oh my God, here comes the left.
Trump went on a tirade about 6 months ago when they started
debate.
talking about the third rail of Social Security. And he said, you guys are going to lose everybody. Please do not touch Social Security. Those are the two main reasons. So when
you think Black people are not voting Republican because of Social Security?
Wait, hold on. But they're touching, the Democrats are touching Social Security right now. It's just not talked about.
That's the part that people don't understand. The Democrats are messing with your money.
Check this out.
But
the Republicans wanted to put
Tell me how.
But
I don't vote for either one of them.
Democrats are going to do something better. It's just not being talked about. That's all. It's being swept under the rug. But guess what? So many folks now are railing against not getting their pension because
there's a difference between pension and Social Security.
Sir, Republicans, in response to what you said about Social Security, sir.
Exactly.
First of all, Black people don't want to vote Republican because of the white boogeyman. Number one.
Okay, so you're not.
Number two, with Social Security, sir, for decades, Republicans have suggested that that Social Security be put into the stock market. Yeah, there's risk there, but there's also reward there. And the trend of the stock market has always trended up over the last however many 100 years.
It also depends on how much years you got left to wait for that.
Bro,
exactly.
Bro, there's no guarantees in life.
I know how it works.
Social Security, there's no money in it. It's all IOUs.
You talking about S&P, bro. Listen, let me jump in here 1 second. Nate, I want you to understand sometimes, right? Nate, you know you my dog. Don't get it twisted.
I like you too. So
right. There's a fallacy in this argument that you have that any criticism of the right is some sort of praise for the left.
No,
right?
Sir, that's wrong.
No.
I criticize rhinos. What are you talking about?
Nate, me and you have been in these debates before. So understand that it would sound as though if anybody has a criticism of the right, then somehow we're cool with, people who want children and the alphabet and all that other shit. Like,
no, sir.
Understand. No, understand. No, let me. You can disagree with me when I'm done. Understand this. It is possible to have criticisms of the right and not agree with all that shit you're talking about. It's very possible to have issues with both sides. The other thing is, when it comes to conservative or Republican, you understand it. Me and you agree on a lot of different things, bro. And these are conservative points of view, right? Like, I'm extremely conservative about the things that you're mentioning. Okay, the weirdoism, I'll just use that word, right? And all the things that they throw at the children. When I say nobody agrees with those things, I mean nobody in this conversation. Nobody in this conversation is going to make an argument for the weirdoism or grown people dealing with children. or any, you know, agenda or group of people wanting to recruit children into their way of thinking, sexualizing children. Nobody here in this conversation, present for this conversation, is going to agree with that. But at the same time, we can have critique of the right and how they affect us. And one thing I will disagree with Doc Thunder on is when it comes to the left, yeah, they're sympathetic to black women, but not us. Exactly. They're not sympathetic to black people. They're sympathetic to black women, and that's the difference. And black women,
part of the problem.
No, of course it's part of the problem, but again,
I don't care about anyone being sympathetic for me.
No, but see, you get hung up on these words. What I'm saying to you
words
is
mean something, bruh.
Okay, so then let me use something. Let me reword it, because you know you do a lot of that shit, right?
No, that's real shit, bruh.
No, but
that's real shit. Let me
finish. I wasn't done, because you're gonna get me away from my point.
Come on, man.
You're gonna get me away from my point, fam. What I'm saying to you is we have criticisms of the left, bro. Exactly. And the right. Exactly. As black people, we in a position, especially as black men, we're in a position to have criticisms of both sides, fam. Right? So while we don't support none of that shit you mentioned, we're also aware that the left does not fuck with us. There's nothing. Yes, it is me fantastic. The left does not fuck with us as black men. It's all of that shit you said, you know, the patting on the head, the patronizing, all of that shit. We're aware of that. So nobody's saying, oh, fuck the right, they're racist, so vote Democratic. Is exactly what he said. He said that's not an argument for the right. It's an argument for a third party. Now we understand how politics.
I ain't even agreeing with that third party. I suggest black people, when are we gonna just black men, when are we gonna vote amongst ourselves to establish some type of consensus?
Okay, well, right now, though, what do you have to do right now? If anything, for Nate's argument, getting more black people to be third party would actually be a win for Nate. And then
Yeah,
maybe
that would be a good step.
I don't worry about third party. Okay, what I worry about is black people, or black men in particular, acknowledging which party's platform speaks to the things we discuss in this space, what we advocate for in this space. Okay.
You know, Nate, can I point out something really quickly? Because I think it's not even so much of like, as much as I like want people to agree with me, especially like other black men. Obviously, I want, you know, to be in accord with everybody, but I think there's something else going on, and this is why I wanted to highlight this Ice Cube thing. I don't have to convince any black men to be a Republican or a conservative per se. And that's not my effort in any of this, right? What I want to point out is how, as time goes on, as we move forward into the future, you will naturally be less comfortable and less attracted to the black home and the Democrat left side of politics. It's just a natural thing. And so I don't have to convince you. The environment will force you out. And all I'm doing is waiting on the sidelines saying, hey, you should have been here a long time ago.
Thank you. Thank you.
Black people should be mercenary in their
what
approach
exactly
to
is the Republican Party offering? Not that is beneficial for
I can answer.
Wait. Before you do that,
you don't expect shit.
Nate, before you do that, why should they offer you anything? If you give them their ass to kiss every single time, like same thing, like
okay. I ain't playing that dumbass game.
Seriously, what's in it for them? What's the whip them? What's the whip them for the politicians?
No, they've been winning without the black vote this whole time, so I respect that position too. You know.
And if you're looking for all due respect to keep it 100, this is the same thing they always say. What are they offering us? What are they going to offer us? You're looking for the Republican Party to label what they're offering you in blackety black.
That's what they do for everybody else. They do that for everyone else.
No, they don't.
Let them continue.
Yeah, they
No, they don't.
Yes,
they offer low taxes. They offer business opportunities. They offer removing regulations from your desire to start a small business, and not the establishment, but rank and file Republicans want a secure border. That's what they offer. Tell me what the Republicans offer the Latino community for Latinos exactly. Go ahead.
Oh, for the you talking about? I said
Republicans. Yeah, what they
How
offer
you say
Latinos.
Republicans and
I said
security?
no.
I'm a union guy. I'm a union guy. I'm a union guy.
One at a time. One at a time. Go ahead. Keep on.
I'm a union guy. So
Who's
I'm
a
gonna leave
union
that
guy?
to the last topic, but we're gonna take it point by point. So you're telling me Republicans are anti-immigration?
The Republican establishment has been a co-conspirator in our open borders for years until Trump. But your rank and file Republican voter, absolutely they have.
We don't
been.
vote for the
While
voters.
your rank and file Democrat has
so
been.
you're saying
open
no.
border.
Let's synthesize. You're saying that the people who vote for Republican are against it.
Right.
Republican.
Your rank and file Republican voter. That's exactly what I said.
Okay.
What does the party represent?
Right.
I mean, the actual people who make the move.
The establishment has. I've said this several times on Bernard's. They are co-conspirators with the Democrats. Okay,
so that means
that's why we don't like rhinos.
All right, next
that's
question.
why we don't like neoconservatives.
Right.
Hey, but what Nate, hey, wait, what Nate is really what Nate is saying, there's a uniparty. There is a uniparty, right?
Exactly.
And you have like the Mitch McConnells on one side, you have the Nancy Pelosi's on the other side, and those are the people that you have to like, systematically get out of there because they're the ones standing in the way of any kind of progress.
You have your Matt Gaetz. You have your
you can
Donaldson
understand
out
how
of Florida.
Republican rank and file is for something, but the party is exactly against.
Right.
The establishment. How black men are against certain things.
I'm sorry,
but the
you don't
Democratic
understand
Party
what I'm
doesn't
saying.
listen
Sorry.
to it.
It's the
You gotta address
establishment
that,
that's the
Nate.
problem.
Establishment party, whatever.
Donald Trump and MAGA got rid of a third of the Freedom Caucus and has replaced it with MAGA now, who are usually America first. And I don't want somebody to be black first. I want somebody to be America first.
But sometimes America means not you.
I'm an American, sir. No, it doesn't mean
you say that.
It doesn't mean you.
But do they say
we
that?
stuck in that, bro.
But do
now,
they
next
agree
thing,
with that?
For union members, the blue collar workers, your plumbers, electricians, carpenters, and everything that everybody holds dear. What is the Republican Party stance on unions?
Wait, hold on. Before you even get to that, like what's happening to the unions right now? They're being minimized by both sides. So like,
I know this.
I mean, because like, look, I just saw the video like last week where the dudes were losing their pensions or whatever, and guess what? The current administration don't care about like what's going on. There was Democrats that put the whole NAFTA stuff in place along with Republican support.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm like, here's where I go with the Dr. Thunder piece. I was like, I would go more with the third party, and I would vote policies, and I would vote people out that don't, push that. Right. And then the problem is, if you won't even have a conversation with somebody, why would they expect you to vote for them? Right. They're not. They don't need you. They've proven not to need you.
Right. Because when we square this straight up on economics,
black people being a part of this open border society have brought in 40 million illegals, and now they've replaced you.
Can I jump
all right, hold on. I'm gonna go back to you, Dr. Thunder. Give me a second. Shout out to Stacker Star, sent a $10 cash app. Do appreciate that. Gregory Scotland with the $10 super chat says we need more objectivist, Jeffersonian type of conservatives, not traditional types. They are too much close to the Buckley mentality. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Freeman's Journal, who was on the panel, who I don't even know if we got to hear him speak. I apologize for that. Freeman Journal, if you're still listening, says Dr. Thunder, what discussion in particular? See, we moved on from that. I don't even know what we're talking about. My bad, Freeman's Journal. Come back. I definitely pass you the mic right when you come back because he was waiting in line and I think you had to leave. Dark Knight Blade 45 in the building with a $5 super chat. He says black leftists need to stop treating politicians like their own therapists. It's not their job to love and care for us. We're not their children. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. All right, go ahead, Dr. Thunder. You got it.
Yeah. I just think this is interesting because earlier in the conversation before the panel was opened, I made a comment about tribalism. And I think that this conversation is exactly what I was talking about, where certain folks, certain people, it's very important for them, for people to say things in a way specific to the way that they want them to be said in order to be on their team, as it were. And it's difficult for certain personalities to be able to accept that they can agree with them on some things and disagree with them on other things. It's more interesting to me to be able to interact with folks that I do not agree with everything on. But in order to be able to do that, you have to be able to speak in a language using terminology that everybody understands. Otherwise, you're going to be guilty of the sort of echo chamber thing. If you're not concerned about the way that people take what it is that you're saying, then really what you're saying is you just want to talk to people that will interpret, understand things, and have the same perspective that you have. That's going to be the net of that. That's going to be the impact of that. And so since I move in a lot of different circles, and I have refused to jump in the black box or jump in the conservative box or jump in the Republican or the Democrat box or whatever box people want to put me in, it tends to create a lot of these sort of issues when I'm conversing with folks. And Little Big Nate, I mean, I agree with you about 95% of the time.
Right.
Okay. There's about 5% that we would disagree on. And I think that we may express what it is that we say differently. But much of what you say, I agree on. Okay. But I also have a different experience as far as the circles that I tend to be in and the kinds of folks that I have to talk to on a regular basis. And I think that's actually been to my advantage. It's been to my benefit because I will know and understand things about the way that they actually think, than folks that have not interacted with them in that way. So again, the sort of nuance thing, I don't like the duopoly thing and the sort of uniparty. I don't like the arguments that if you vote for a third party, that it's a wasted vote or any of that kind of stuff. And largely, I think that those arguments are put forth by both Democrats and Republicans because they want to keep everything as if the only choice we have is if the Republicans are in, then the Democrats must be the answer. And if the Democrats are in, then the Republicans must be the answer. I reject that.
Yeah,
I don't want to be party to. Let me just say this last thing.
Go ahead.
I don't want to be party to promoting evil of any kind.
Same.
There's the sort of lesser of two evils argument. But in the end, all you end up doing is promoting evil because the both options were evil in the first place. Now I'm willing to caucus with anybody. I'll caucus with Republicans. I'll caucus with Democrats on issues, specific issues, very specific issues that we can agree on. But other than that, that's it.
All right. Do you think part of the problem where Democrats they shiver in their boots about the idea of black people voting third party, and I think black people do as well because so many black people vote Democrat. If black people started voting third party or just voting somewhere in the middle, and then basically withholding their vote from the main two parties until somebody does something. Black people doing that means a 100% guaranteed victory for Republicans. Because that's why black people, I think, don't got the balls to say, yeah, we're going to withhold our vote, because they make the calculation that us withholding our vote means Republicans automatically win, and the Republican is the white devil and enemy. So therefore, it's like a non-starter when you start talking about black people not picking a side, Democrat or Republican. Not picking a side means Republicans win.
Why
So
are we
Well, you also sacrifice all your leverage with the Democrats, though, because
I
now you're
know.
locked
I
in.
know.
You are frozen.
I know, but I don't think
talking
hold on,
about-
but real quick, Nate. I don't think
Yeah.
black people are willing to sacrifice an election cycle or two to make a point, even though they not.
Am I frozen now?
Just real quick, I wanted to chime in just real quick. Why are we talking about black people politically like we have to be a monolith, like we have to vote this way, and then we have
that's
to
part
vote
of the
that
problem.
way? And then that's a huge part of the problem.
Yeah.
Let black leftists and black men who want to follow black women's political leadership, they can go that way. And then black men that want to be in charge and call the shots and be the men can go the other way.
That's whack how you worded that.
Because on the other way, bro, the other way, the women are in charge. The other way, the LMNOPs and the Transformers are all in charge. That's what's over there.
What is the other way? See, that's the issue. Is in each of your arguments, it seems like you have this strong polarity. It's either this or it's that. And I don't know that it's necessarily that simple.
When one side is promoting the rape of children, it is a polarity.
Here we go with that again. No.
Oh, so I can't point out the truth.
Because it's binary, Nate.
Hold on, gentlemen.
You're making a binary argument, Nate.
No. What you don't understand is how offensive that is to me.
No, you're making a binary
argument.
Allow that. Either this or that.
No, Nate does have
like there's no
Hold
other
on, hold on,
option
gentlemen.
other than
This is the height of the
agree with
I'm
you
sorry
or
if
we
you
agree
haven't done the research on what happens before societies collapse. This is exactly what happens before civilizations collapse.
Hold on, gentlemen.
You got to give up the floor. You got to give up the floor, Nate.
Be going
Hold on, I've just been quiet. Because he is correct. He's 50% correct. But the other 50% is that we have to understand democracy is legalized gangbanging. If you're not in the majority, you really don't control anything. So now we don't have
Representative Wait, who is that talking right now?
That's the wasted vote argument, by the way.
Right.
Hey, all right, so the gentleman else on top, my bad. I don't know everyone's name. First time caller. So I agree with what he's saying. One on top with the kid in the picture. So basically, what he's saying is like people, generally speaking, black people, there's sort of like a limited understanding of like how complex societies are. And so what's going on is the Democrat Party or the current manifestation of the Democrat Party, they're promoting everything that is counter to what holds civilization up. That's the point. If you look at, I'm being real, if you look at red states versus blue states, I apologize if I'm using like the dichotomy aspect, but it's easier for people to understand. If you look at a red state versus a blue state, red states do better, period. Culturally speaking, family-wise, so on and so forth. It's just that black people, they're so connected to the race thing that their ability to use critical thinking and realizing, hey, why are these people doing better? What's the simple answer? Oh, it's because they're racist. No, it's because
let me ask you a question. Why is it cool for you to use simplified language to make your argument, but for other people, we're talking this dumbed down version to explain to stupid people?
No,
like what you just because what he just did, he said, pardon me if I'm using the dichotomy because it's what most
one at a
people
time,
don't
one at a
understand.
time, one at a time. I'll start over, keep 100. I couldn't
Go ahead.
What he just did was, and I don't have a problem with it. He said, he said, pardon me for using the dichotomy, but it's what most people understand. And when Dr. Thunder tried to explain that earlier, it was, oh, we got to explain to black people like they're stupid. But what he just did was the same thing. Why is it cool for him to do that? But then when we do it, we're dumbing down for dumb black people.
No,
that's what just happened here.
I'm
don't
calling it
out.
And
I don't have a problem with him doing that. I'm just saying and be consistent with
I'm very consistent. I said I am so incredibly enraged by what the left is doing because this is the absolute.
We're not talking about the left right now.
This is the precipice
that's part of
what happens
problem,
before
though.
a civilization collapses. I am taking it much more seriously than most.
Nate, you're making a lot of appeals to emotion here, bro.
Forgive me. Keep it 100. Forgive me.
Okay. Can I just say something real quick?
Oh yeah, go ahead, dirty folks.
Because you guys have said two things that are synonymous words, but they're factual. Somebody said that it's tribal, which is true. The whole Constitution is based on tribal law. Then you said it's legalized gangbanging, which is also true because gangs are tribes.
Right. Yeah.
You're arguing about 2%.
But you like so I've had that the same situation. I'm sort of in the same boat as the other gentleman. Forgive me, I'm not too familiar with everyone's names on here.
Little Big Nate
So,
is my name.
huh? Say that again.
Little Big Nate with the kid in there. Yeah, that's me.
All right, Roger. So the problem is I've been in a situation before where I'm the black sheep with people that I know within the black and minority community, right? And because I ventured out into different cultures in terms of like what's really going on, right? So we all have our own perspective of what's happening, but we all see what's popping off, right? In terms of like the political agendas and so on and so forth. And one of the issues is because I myself dived into other like groups, like you call it the tinfoil hat community, you can call it conservative community, whatever. These guys or these people have been like seeing the specifics of what's going on behind the scenes for decades. And what's happening is it's like the minorities, and particularly we're talking about black people, they have a very, I guess, like simplified understanding of what's really going on. Maybe in the past, let's say 30, 40, 50 years ago, the racism shit was what was going on, but now it's far more complex. That's not the battle we're fighting right now. It's
I agree with
everyone is
that.
getting picked over.
I agree with
Everyone is
that.
getting picked over. What was that?
Here's the continuation of my thought, though.
Okay.
With the thing that Little Bit Nate is arguing against is 0.2% of the nation. 0.2%. I'm not saying he doesn't have a legitimate argument. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is their tiny tribe is the squeaky wheel, so they're looking for oil. The crayon game is a dumb game because it's ran by women, gays, and felons.
Yeah.
When black men decide that they're going to be men instead of black, rebrand if you have to, then you will be able to have your little protest parades and get your agenda out, because men have an agenda, and it's not a racial agenda because everybody tribes, right?
It seems like it seems like with black people specifically, it is racial. Because when you if you attempt to tell them, I always have this argument, right? Like let's talk about the LGBT community or let's say the gun crime community, right? Whenever I talk to whether it's a black hotel type people or whatever, right? And I go, all right, you think there's a super secret white supremacy thing where they're trying to oppress people, right? But yet you vote for and you promote policies that put you in a disadvantaged state against your impression of that there's some sort of white supremacy. So for instance,
I gotta kind of stop you right there because you said Black Hotep and the voting block, when Black Hotep it ain't even really it's a minuscule black voting block.
And Black
no,
Hotep.
I'm just using them as an example, as like
I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, check this out. You use same example, but let's be realistic. Black Hotep is baby mama savers. So that you put them with the women. And most of them used to be felons. That's how they became Hotep. So you're back at women, gays, and felons.
Yeah.
What I am saying is anytime that they have to make a move in quote unquote Black America, it is because of a black man. People support black men. The problem is black men don't do their own paperwork. So black women take the funding, or pastors, which is, cater to black women, take the funding that happens from a what's my boy name down in Ferguson, Missouri.
Damn, folks, that is a prophecy you just
Mike
said.
Brown.
Mike Brown. They take the Mike Brown. They take the Mike Brown money and the Mike Brown hashtag, because Black Lives Matter was a hashtag on Twitter. They monetize it. They take the money and then they build transgender housing authorities. Black men have a very strong. The whole world is rooting for black men, and black men are rooting for black women. So let's take the black out and just say that you're a man, and then you say, as a man, this is what I need in order to be sustained as a man, right? And then you do it from different marketing angles, right? There's a guy named by the name of John McWhorter. John McWhorter used to go to Congress. He'll talk with the politicians, then he'll leave work and come in the hood and shake dice with his guys. He called that duality. There's a lot of people in here that say they move in different circles. I do as well. You know what I'm saying? If I'm moving product, if I'm on the block, I'm dirty folks. When I go talk to the the mayor or the alderman, I'm Steve. It just depends on where I'm at, but it doesn't change who I am, and it doesn't change the fact that there's a thought process. Once black men read above a 6th grade level, there's a thought process that everybody else is pookie, right?
Yeah.
But the first person I ever heard like outwardly say, "Yo, I'm rolling with Donald Trump," well, hood niggas. Like, so it's not the fact that they don't know what's going on. It's the fact that they feel like they don't have a voice.
How do
Right?
you not
So
wait? How do you not have a voice? It's called it's called
no. Having a
learning how the
vote and having a
system
voice is two
works.
different things. Okay, no. I'll tell you exactly how you
Like
don't have a voice, because you don't know who your
like
enemy is.
voting local elections, actually
No.
understanding what
Having
the
a vote
policies
and
are.
having a voice are two different things. And the
But
fact
what
you
is the
don't know
point of
who your
having a
enemy.
vote? What is the point of having a voice if you do not vote and get the proper people in power in order to promote your
I'll help
agenda?
you out with that. I'll help you out with that.
Mhm.
This is because you don't know who your enemy is, because y'all play crayon games. So you go out here and you say all of your best and brightest are being canceled. All of your best and brightest are not being incentivized, right? You have a kid that can graduate from college at 12 years old. The Jays have to come and grab your kid. There's no structure there for it. If you want to say something smart and say this is how you say the community, you'll have a bunch of girls say, hold on, what do you mean being a single mom is bad and I can't run a household and tell you what to do? Let's cancel them. Everything that's good in Black America is called acting white. You have a marketing problem.
I
Right?
live that life. Yeah.
I
Go ahead.
understand that. So that's a
And
marketing
also,
problem.
there's no voice because all of Black media is dominated by Black women's interests and the left. All Black media.
Yeah, but media's failing, Nate. Media's failing because, and look, and that's testament to this platform, like Bernard or whatever. Like,
this is the only space where Black men like us even have a voice.
no,
Try
well,
and get an article or something that would be promoted in this space in Ebony or Jet. They would laugh at you.
yeah, but I mean
never get in there.
that's all like wallpaper stuff anyway, man. That's why their business models are failing, and like a lagging indicator of a lot of this stuff is like, look at the movies. I mean, they're struggling.
All these leftist movies bomb.
Yeah,
I think
they're
the
struggling.
just lost $79 billion in this last quarter.
Yeah, but that is a victory. But here's what has to happen.
So
And
are you
Friedman
guys
said it
trying to
earlier.
stop?
Hey,
Are you trying to
Friedman,
stop the collapse, like as this gentleman said up top? Like, because I think the issue is are we trying to like stop what's eventually going to come, or do we have to wait
when I come up here and speak? Yeah, when I come up here and speak, I'm trying to stop the collapse. So I have to be. I've got to be so incredibly brutal and clear with how evil what's going on is, and then dudes get angry about it.
Okay, here's my thing.
You're not going to be. You're not going to be able. You're not going to be able to do that because we're already past a point of no return. That's the problem. We all know what the issues are. We all know what the solutions are. Huh?
I would hate to think that that's true.
No, Big Nate, but we are. Here's the thing, Big Nate. This is because this is what you guys do. Because y'all try to
Wait, who's you guys? Who you talking about? Address the individual.
This is what Big Nate is saying in this particular situation. What he's saying is he wants to steer the tide to a place of either comfort or tolerance. What everyone else is saying, and they're not even saying it as aggressively as me, is that you have to take everything to its logical conclusion. So the logical conclusion is failing, which means slavery is upon us, which means I'd rather be a slave master than a slave. So now I have to take our little tribe and I have to say, yo, we need to be in a position to own the lifeboats.
Get the lifeboats
when they
ready.
no longer afford the social services that keep things afloat. Who's going to feel? Yo, and how do we keep our plantations and rebrand it so it's not a plantation, so it's Candyland, and they're not slaves, they're secretaries.
Well, not
like how do we do that? Because we're already Black men are very reactive instead of proactive. They see what's happening. They have all the dialogue in the world. They know everything that's happening, and they're like, "Yo, I hope it stops." But they're not proactive in making it stop. You know what I'm saying? At some point, you got to say, "Thou shalt not pass."
I think y'all got right to the crux of the thing when he asked the question, and Nate answered it properly. He believes that it can be saved, and I understand how. I don't. The closest we got to even addressing is when I was talking about Social Security, and we got to the point where the money, you can pay it if the money was invested abroad in the market at higher returns.
Thank you.
And what I want to say, this is pretty much the sum of most of the things that I ever say, is that politics is controlled on all levels by the bondholder. When we say we're looking for someone to work in our best interest, that's literally a mathematical formula where the interest is the interest off the bond. So your president works for the Treasury, your mayor works for the municipal general bond, your school system has their own bonds and everything like that. If you want to deal with politics, you have to be able to control and buy some bonds. But the problem is when you're chasing that higher return, your money is not within the infrastructure, and it's not being held down and capitalized in the infrastructure where you live. So that is the essential debate that you're going to have. For Nate, that's your answer, is how do you get Americans, and I mean all of them, this isn't just business, I'm talking about through 401k, to actually have the bonds and where they own their house. Like how is it that we're buying houses but don't have any of the bonds for the city that we've just bought this house? How are we taught Black Wall Street in Tulsa? We're not explaining that, hey, it couldn't even be a city unless the residents were buying the bonds to loan the money for interest to get these roads built and everything like that. So that's really all I want to say, because, you know, this whole political thing, we get real serious about it. Number one, our politics was aborted. And I'm glad Dude came on and said it. It's the same thing as game banging, man. We don't have the numbers. And so you use a different strategy to where you say, what really controls this? And I'm just trying to tell you, it's the bonds that control it. And until we don't have a vehicle to buy it as individual capitalistic investors, but it's our fund, and we use the talent that we have professionally and everything like that, we're not going to have that political power. So I'm just going to put on mute, and that's it.
All right. Laptop SWAT 1 in the building says Black men need to form PACs and lobbyist groups organized by gaining financial donors for money, practice, OPSEC / move in silence until checkmate. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. We're about to go to Freedman's Journal because he was up earlier. I don't think he got to say nothing. So I'm gonna come back to you, Devin. But go ahead, Freedman's Journal. You got the floor. You got the mic.
Hey, thanks, Bernard. Appreciate it. Salute to the panel. Salute to the chat. Kind of circling back on the topic of they don't want him thinking outside of the box. Kind of what's happening and why this is a thing is it really, Black men and Black women have a different culture, period. Right? Politics is downstream of culture. Right? It is not like who you vote for, this or that, or, you know, this party's message. It is always downstream of culture. And what you see is more and more Black men are voting Republican, period. Like without any, pardon me, without appealing to Black men, without changing their party at all. Right?
Indeed.
Their culture is changing. And that's just that you're going to see that more and more, right? Once enough, and I don't know when, but once enough critical mass happens, right? Like the black culture is going to get dumped off the Democrat train, right? At some point, they're going to pivot hard to Latinos, because if Black women can't deliver Black men, it's over, right? It's over. They can't win in the cities. I mean, because look, bro, Houston is 40% Latino, right? But their city council isn't. Their school boards aren't. So it's only a matter of time until that happens. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Black culture is just collapsing, right? The divergence between the men and women is done, right? It is just done. So, you know, and I do notice there's a subset of like, you know, functional Black people that want like Black culture to exist. Like they want that good old late 80s, you know, mid 90s Cosby Show type thing to go on, but that ain't happening either, right? Because demography is destiny. Right, we know. Look at the younger dudes are dating out like crazy. I mean, that just ain't happening either. You know what I mean? So, So yeah, and that's all I had, and that's all I wanted to, kind of frame the conversation is we're kind of doing our own thing. And like some people have said on the panel, if they want to go that way with the Democrat Party and, certain men are pro the queens and everything else, you're just going to see this divide grow over time. So that's it.
But they're going to get sacrificed though. That's the problem. That's the reason why the collapse is happening, because the female, like, it's, I remember reading somewhere, what was that?
Make it quick, because I do gotta pass it to Devin.
Yeah,
He haven't said nothing yet.
So I remember what was it? When he was on the show and it was like the four black women when was it Ice Cube, Ice Cube, whatever. He was
the
on,
cocktails with queens, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the gentleman on the bottom, what he said was correct. The culture is so different. When he was on and he said, here's the plan for Black America, it was for Black people as a whole. But the females were going, what's in it for me as a woman? They think they're their own separate group. Mm-hmm. That's part of the problem. If you think race a group thing, that's part of the problem. The females, it's the way they vote, and that's in all races. The females, think about all of the stuff they promote and they vote for, right? Abortion, healthcare, the whole 9 yards. It's all about them, not the entirety of the group. And I think that's part of the problem. Once we get the females under control,
that's
I agree with training a toddler. Bro, but that's not the problem. That's men's problem. You still thinking Black. Women have individual women problem, which means I want to get stuff without doing anything. I want a sugar daddy, but don't have to give sugar. So they vote for a chicken in a pot.
So I'm basically saying that.
I understand that, but I'm saying that's a man problem. That's not a Black problem. Oh, this is all I'm saying, sir. This is all I'm agreeing with you, but this is all I'm saying. I'm saying that when you, once you put, because you keep saying, because Black people, and then you say the women, I'm saying women are their own group.
Black he was making that. He was literally making that point.
No, but I'm saying that Black men are the only ones that listen to women with clothes on. So while everybody else,
yeah, he heard what they said and he drew the conclusion that they see themselves separately as their own group. Like that's what he was saying. He was basically saying,
no, I know,
right here.
No,
I care about
that part. I'm saying at the end he included
it. We're not mentioning at all in the contract with Black America. And
when you mention Black people, you mentioning Black women. So don't count yourself
no,
out.
No, that's not true. That's like administration said that when they
Black people is not Black women.
Black
women are not included in Black people.
No,
I care.
Yeah, that right there. A lot of Black men pretended like they didn't see what was said right there. Everybody in the damn Black manosphere did content on that shit to try to open up Black men's mind to like, look, they literally see themselves as their own separate group, and whatever it is that they going for, what they want, whatever they trying to do, ain't got shit to do with you. Yeah. So no, we definitely
and that's the problem. The problem was on that. My bad for cut you off. Yeah, the problem is we're like outside of like whatever people think about what other quote unquote cultural enemies that Black people have, right? And the funny thing about it is it's not just like Black or Hispanics. It's like we're dealing with too many different tribal groups, I guess you can say, the LGBT, then it's the radical feminists and all that. And that's what's basically creating most of the problems. The females have created a coalition with every subversive group that has ever popped up. And now, as you said before, all of the whole like woke gender-based movements where all of the movies are collapsing, everything's falling apart, is because they're going against the natural order. If we want to collectively go ahead.
Take a shower, man. We gotta go.
Go ahead, Devin. Go ahead, Devin. Devin. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Devin.
Thank you, brother. We got to do this, man. The Black American Party. We got to stand on our own feet. We got to have our own voice, regardless of who agrees with us or disagrees with us, regardless of whether we have people in office, whether we have allies. We got to stop looking for friends. We got to stop trying to appeal to people and try to get them to love or like us. And we need to stop looking for quote unquote good white folks, because that's a myth. It's a myth, man. Everybody's looking out for their own. We have to stand on our own 2 feet, and we have to represent ourselves with our own party, no matter how big or how small that is, because it's obvious that the Black vote is needed. It's needed. So We have to stand up and have a cohesive message where we say, yo, this is our platform, whether it be reparations, whether it be whatever, right? Put our platform together with our own voice and put it out there. And if you want our vote, this is the line you got to toe. We got to stop letting the HBC coons represent us. We got to get off of that. We got to get off.
I know,
Can I
but
get one of them
here's the thing with that. That's more or less what Cube was trying to do, but then like I just played the clip.
The women got in the way.
They was on some we need something there specific for women and blah blah blah. So that they don't view Black America.
Yeah, and
I got Q's back.
You need to get the women in check. You're not gonna go nowhere if the women are doing all this crazy. Think about it. Like all of these other channels talking about what's going on with women specifically, the booty clapping, going to other countries, doing other crazy shit. They out of fucking pocket. If you want to deal with whatever enemies that we're dealing with right now, get the women in check, and then you can have the Black Party or whatever. Like me personally, I'm not really into that. I'm a dyed-in-the-wool fucking Republican conservative, right? And generally speaking, the only reason why I come onto these channels when I'm dealing with Black people is my interests and my concerns in terms of policy benefit everybody. And I think that's the problem. We keep thinking it's just Black people have their own. No, I mean, do you want lower taxes? Yes. Do you want to close up the border? Should you want to close up the freaking border so that Black people and minorities don't have to compete against people that were not born in this country? Yes. But the problem is Black people, you have all of these sub interests that aren't really fucking issues. It's just made up shit that the Democrat Party gets you focused on that tricks you into not understanding.
I think the dude who was talking about the Black American Party is right, but for a different reason. I think it needs to just be more or less of a think tank, like not a think tank, but an actual consensus maker, and then break huddle. And when it comes to the U.S. elections, you still have these two, maybe 3 or 4 choices, but at least now you know what you're looking for internally as you go into I call it international because we're all just a ton of different nationalities from around the world. So I consider it voting amongst the world when I vote in the U.S. election. But I 100% agree with the Black American Party. I think the party part is one of the things that'll probably divide people. I think Congress is probably a little bit too strong of a word, but definitely something to establish a way to make a consensus to say, hey, a majority or whatever percentage of people agree with just this proposal. So that
here's the problem with that.
If I could chime in real quick,
we need to be against legal and illegal.
I need to be against anybody who's Black. That's who I'm against. Everybody.
Who's the one that said illegal and legal immigration?
I did. Devin Lockett, the Black American.
That thinking, that's what I'm talking about. That makes sense. I might not agree with that, but the fact that he understood that part, the illegal, the part, the function of, hey, that benefits everybody, that we understand the ramifications of illegal immigration or illegal, whatever the hell it is. That's the problem. When you're talking to groups, quote unquote, groups of people, right? It's like there's disconnect between understanding complexities of why the F were you voting for this group? Right. When everything that they're promoting, every policy,
everything they promote
is against you. That's the shit that irritates me. That's why,
if I could chime in
Black
real quick,
people spend all of it. That shit. When I have arguments with my friends, my bad. I'll get
no, bro. I appreciate your vigor. I love a young conservative fry, Brian. I absolutely do. Couple of things, right? Let me tell you why I vote Republican when I vote, okay? Because the problem on the left is that niggas are tied to the Democrat Party emotionally, right?
Yes, sir.
When I came to this space, and this is kind of a famous incident, there was a dude that came up here, lost his shit on me because I was a conservative. I started speaking, my first stream I did with Bernard Riley was why I'm voting for Donald Trump over 4 years ago, all right? And this is why I vote Republican. So because it's the socioeconomic environment that is most favorable to the productive class. And it is the
productive class that drives the engine of our country, gives us our jobs, gives us your malls with 70 stores, gives you your 30 different brands of bread in the grocery store.
Yes, sir.
That is what's important.
Okay, let me tell you why it's not important that you vote Republican.
Bro, let me finish, please.
Okay.
So when the gentleman was up here, brother Dr. Thunder, I'm hearing things about the Democrat Party. There is, in my personal opinion, there is nothing that can make up for 23 million dead Black children and the Democrats cheering it on. There's nothing that can, let me finish. There's nothing that can make up for the Democrat Party promoting the destruction of the two-parent Black household. There's nothing that compensates. I don't care about your goddamn voting rights. I don't care about some little affirmative action initiative that was done. Nothing that they've done replaces the evil that they promote.
Okay.
I did a stream the other day that American Black women are the white liberals' #1 flunky. And guess who's #2? Black American men. Black men that vote Democrat, you are following Black female leadership, period.
Right.
That's why I'm so
Here's why it doesn't.
opposed.
This is the same. I agree with that. But tell me the right without talking about the left.
Okay. So here's the thing. I'll help you out with that. Here's the thing. This is why it doesn't matter if either one of you are staunch Republicans. This is why it doesn't matter. I appreciate that you are. This is why it doesn't.
I'm not a Republican. I use the Republican Party.
Okay, conservative. This is why it doesn't matter. This is why it doesn't matter. Because, and I got a shout out to Hood Conservative for this because he actually made me do some research. Do you know that if you repeal the 19th, that 46 of the 50 states are Republican already? Do you know that if you take away just simply the Black woman's vote, so because there's a difference between the 19th, which lets women vote, but that didn't include Black women. Black women can't vote on an amendment. Black women vote on an act. The Black Voters Act is for women. If you take it away, Black men can still vote because of the 13th Amendment and 14th Amendment. Black women's vote is benevolence by America. So even if you just don't ratify the Black Voting Act, so Black women can't vote, you're at 39 of 50 states being Republican. So you voting how you vote is in accordance to how most heterosexual men and women who want a husband vote.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? So that's not once again. So now you guys have the wrong enemy because you keep playing crayon games. You understand what I'm saying?
White liberal is our enemy. I'm sorry.
Let him finish. Let him finish. I want to hear this.
No, okay.
Well, basically, he's saying the voting block, the Democrat voting block, it's female in a sense. That's basically what he's saying. We're not crayon.
I'd rather him tell me
all
what he's
groups
saying.
Together. What was that?
I do want to. I want him to explain who is it that we think is the enemy. That's not the enemy.
Okay. So if you say Black, okay. Once again, so if you say Black, the Black political party, who exactly is the Black? Are we talking about everybody with melanated skin, the Africans, the American Black? Who is the Black? Because we all have because Nigerians are only Black when they go to jail. When they not in jail, they Nigerian like a motherfucker, and they don't even deal with American Black.
That's facts.
Yeah, that's why I've always said I'm against this idea. And shout out to Devin. Salute Devin. I appreciate him being up. But yeah, I'm just personally, I'm opposed to the third party idea. Like I said earlier, how about we just get this group of very productive, motivated Black men that are invested in this country, who are part of this country. Like I said, if any political figure that is America first, I'm going to benefit because I'm an American. Now, there are those who don't feel that they're American, and that's fine. I'm going to benefit because whoever's America first, I plan on being on that ship that starts to rise. Okay. I don't need them to be Black America first. I just need them to be America first. I'll figure out the rest. Thank you.
The biggest issue I hear in the political conversations is that everybody starts with the premise that everybody else is going to do something in their behalf without understanding that, or without articulating. There you go, even better. Without articulating, they're going to have to make a trade-off, right? And all I want people to know or think of in the front of their mind is what's the with them or what's in it for the other party. You know what I'm saying? because if you want something, you're probably gonna have to give something up, some kind of exchange. It don't necessarily have to be an even exchange, and a lot of times it's not gonna be. But just think about the whiffle. So you know what I'm saying? Like some stuff is gonna be a harder sell than others. And like
what?
like the border stuff, that's an easy sell for America in general. Like there's a number of other
Disagree,
issues.
sir,
Go ahead.
because you know the Latinos are our allies against white supremacy.
Yeah, right.
So, it's not an easy
Latinos,
sell. You know what I'm saying?
The legally white Latinos are fighting the white. Okay, all right.
So let me ask
They
you.
are our allies.
Go ahead, keep it 100. Go ahead, keep it 100. I want to hear keep it 100.
Let me ask the question, because when everybody that votes, right? You vote for the party. I guess I'm thinking maybe I'm naive, right? You vote for the party that serves your interests, right? Mm-hmm. Why is it that? And I find it very interesting that when black men in particular, no other group, black men say, "How are you serving my interests?" That turns into, "Oh, you want motherfuckers to love you." Right?
No.
I hear that. Before anybody jumps in,
let him lay it out.
I hear this implied a lot. It ain't about, loving me, hugging me, all this other corny shit, all this appeal to emotional bullshit.
Get your hand in my pocket.
If it's the politician's job to serve the people that voted for him, and everybody else can demand that he do that, or they'll withdraw their support.
Okay, here's why that doesn't work. You're right, but this is why it doesn't work. How many people know who their local politician is? Everybody know who the president is because colors think the president is a king.
No, I understand that, but address my question first.
The politician's job is to look out for the best interest of the bondholder.
What I don't want to do is go past the direct question that I'm asking.
This is the redress. No, I'll help you out. This is the redress. It's not that you want somebody to hug you. It's not that I know the people who say that. Those are the people who don't know who their local politicians are.
Those are Democrats.
What happens is
it ain't that simple.
Okay.
They're not just Democrats.
Appeal to emotion. That's why they have to have these single mothers led homes, because everybody is thinking emotionally like these women.
It's not just Democrats.
I'm gonna give it to you, bro.
Politics is a business of business. Everybody thinks it's about after school programs and holes in the sidewalk. It's the business.
Black people think it's about that.
Okay.
Other people don't think it's about that.
Okay, black people, right?
Yes, sir.
So politics is the business of business. I have to come through and I say this is my policy.
The job of every politician is to look out for the best interest of the bondholder. Every political office literally represents a bond out there in the market. Period.
So my job is, can I make you money, save you money, or save you time? You know what I'm saying? Can I be the king of the colors so you don't have to worry about the colors, and in exchange you give me a UN slot so I get a license plate with 2 letters so I never get pulled over again? That's the exchange. Can I go in here and say, look, I want to supply every municipal building with my soap, and in exchange I'll give you an executive what do they call it, advisory role that you never have to show up for, but it pays $30,000 a year.
Yep.
Right. That is my job. That is why I talk to the politicians. And then hit the block and drink tequila. But I talk to the politicians because I'm trying to figure out how we can make a win-win situation.
Yes,
you only make win-win situations, and this is going to sound sexist, but I don't care because I'm in Chicago. I know how it works. You can only make win-win situations with men. That we both walk away from the table with 80% of what we wanted, and we both feel like we didn't get taken advantage of.
Understand this. I like what you're saying, but it's not the answer to my question.
Yeah.
What
is the answer to your question?
I can answer it.
All right, Nate, go ahead and answer. Go ahead and hold on. Nate, go ahead and answer. Keep 100 questions. Just ask it again so everybody can be clear about the question. You probably got lost in what the question was. So go ahead and ask it again.
When it comes to politics, everyone could vote their interests. They can express their interests, or they can express disinterest in either a party or a politician that is not serving their interests. But in the peculiar case of black men, when we ask for this from either side, Let me point that out. From either side, it becomes, oh, you want people to love you. Oh, you want friends. You want this. You want somebody to pat you on the back. You want a back massage and all this corny shit. Everyone else gets to do that. When we ask for something for our vote, it becomes this gaslight of why you want something. Why you need this? Why you need love and a hug and all this stupid shit?
Oh, okay, I can answer that.
No, go ahead, Nate.
All right, no problem, man. I want to hear what Dirty has to say too.
The one is that you're aligning with people that's not.
No. God, let me go first, Dirty.
All right, that was all right. Go ahead.
First, bro.
It depends.
No, he was about to tell keep it 100 that he was aligning with people that's not with his interests. If keep it 100 align himself with women, which is not true. Like,
no, I didn't.
Yeah, I definitely didn't do that, and I say that in every conversation. But then motherfuckers gaslight back in the other direction.
Go ahead, Nate.
Very clear in where I stand, bro. Very clear. But go ahead, Nate.
The only time I say stuff like that is when brothers use words like, there was a cat up here a few months ago that said, man, they don't give a fuck about us. And I said, who's they? We have been conditioned as Black men to expect things from politicians that other people don't ask for. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. Keep it 100. Other races ask for tax breaks. They ask for special consideration for contracts for their business. Black people want stupid shit like equality. Black people want a fair society. Black people want justice. These pure retarded things that nobody can give us.
Justice is retarded?
Yeah, justice. Something as obscure as justice. Okay?
It's not obscure.
No, it's very obscure.
Abstract.
You know what justice is? You know what justice is?
I'll respond
Justice is whatever the judge decides. That's justice. Okay? Justice isn't something that's going to make us feel good at the end of the day. It's whatever the judge or the jury decides.
That's what justice is. Feel good.
You got to fight.
That's not what justice is.
Let me finish.
We can't even measure.
Keep it. Let me finish. When we need to ask for things that other groups of people ask for, specific things that can lead to certain results. Black people ask for these weird, obscure things that nobody can give us. Nobody can give you freedom and fairness and justice and equality. Nobody can give us those things. Let's be honest, over the last 60 years, that's mostly what we've been asking for.
So can I respond to some of that?
All right, ahead.
You got something else you want to say?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I've been asking for the working class tax break. Fuck.
Go ahead, keep 100.
If Black people could ask for that, that means I'm absolutely.
I would like to respond. I want to wait till everyone goes. I want to respond, but I want to wait till everyone
Keep
goes.
100 is responding right now. Go ahead, keep it 100.
Okay. All right. So this is the reason. Go ahead, man.
In reference to just the justice part, right? I mean, you said a lot of stuff, but I don't want to. I mean, there's other people, but I don't think justice is retarded, because when we see things happen to other folks like LGBT, like this group, that group, we see things happen, right? So it's not just about what's being asked for, it's about how certain groups or certain politicians or parties react to how certain people are treated, right? So it's not about equality, because I don't believe in equality. There's no such thing. I just want to make that clear. But when it comes to justice, if there are laws on the books, right, then those laws need to apply to everyone. So how about this? The Second Amendment, right? And I always go to this. The Second Amendment, right to bear arms, right? We know that there's certain ways that Black men can't carry the way other groups can carry. We know this. Okay? We know this. It's not even an argument, right? Now, to say, well, you know what? I'm conservative and I believe in the right to bear arms. I believe in that. And the conservatives and the Republicans agree with that. But they don't agree with my ability to exercise that right as they do. And this is the thing I always point out. We somehow think that no, bro, don't eat.
He is correct. I don't
Well,
even
okay, I can give you a little pushback on that.
No, don't give me the pushback yet.
No. I said go ahead.
Yeah,
but there's something I want to make you aware of.
Well,
let
me
ask you this.
aware of it in a second. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, if this was about exercising things as they are written in the books for the same people that you're saying, if you're saying vote for these people, and this is why I don't really support the NRA, even though I support the Second Amendment, is because when these things happen, or when you need the support of the motherfuckers you're paying dues to, then you need a friend, you need a hug, you need allies, you need all this emotional shit. And people say this to men to make them feel soft and to shame them. It's shaming language, right? At the end of the day, if I'm paying your dues or voting for you, then you need to exercise for me the same way you exercise for everyone else. And that's what justice is, right? It's not abstract. It's very objective. It's very real. You understand what I'm saying?
That's not how it works.
It's not how it
60
works.
seconds.
But bro, you're right. It's not how it works, and that's why I don't believe in that.
Just give me 60 seconds, real quick. Real quick for my man Keith. Number one, I agree. The NRA should have came out in full support of Philando Castile. They absolutely should. They dropped the fucking ball on that. That was absolutely wrong. I give you that. But
And
number
he dropped
two,
it on, he just dropped it on the Travis Rudolph or Randolph when he shot those guys.
They should have came to his aid too.
Yeah, they don't. That is true. Keep on his right.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I'm the one that brought it up. The conservatives. But let me point this out. Could the reason why a black man carrying his AR-15 and a white man carrying his AR-15 have something to do with 6% of the population being responsible for 50% of the murders and 53% of the crime?
There we go.
Oh, you saying we would? Hold on. You saying black
here
men?
We go, bro, but it's the truth.
Hold on. You saying it would be bad PR for the NRA to be supporting black men?
No. Right. I'm not saying that. No.
It would.
No, what I'm saying. No, let me finish just real quick. What I'm saying is that is probably the root of why black men are getting dealt with differently than white guys that might be walking down the street with an AR-15.
I don't even
exactly. The U.S.
Black
Constitution always been a bridge
want to complain.
I'm waiting for you in Chicago. I'm waiting to hear Chicago.
This is my last bit. This is my last bit. Black people want to complain. Black people want to complain about corrupt police. But what black people have to understand that in a community of corruption, you're going to have corrupt police. You're more inclined to have corrupt police and corrupt politicians in a community that's corrupt. In a community that doesn't have two-parent households and a high dropout rate and all this other shit.
So let me ask you this, because Dirty Folks earlier was talking about local politics, and I noticed that anytime these sorts of talking points come up, it's like we lean on the Chicago gangbanger crime stats, right?
I'm offended, yo.
Right. So understand this. Now, don't be offended, but understand this. So my ability, right, to practice the Second Amendment is predicated on YAB whatever dude up in whatever GD or whoever's in Chicago shooting at each other. And so I should understand that my situation is going to be
wait, hold on.
I'm talking to Nate, bro.
Hold on.
Who's saying hold on?
I don't know. I think it's the person with the blackout box. You need to turn.
So what I'm saying is, so as a black man, I should understand that I will be dealt with differently, right? Because some gangbang motherfucker in Chicago is shooting some other gangbang dude in Chicago, rising the black crime rate. So I should understand in a place that's hundreds of miles, thousands of miles away from that place, I should understand that my rights are compromised because those dudes over there are acting up.
I say, Marcus, like you're right, and that like that.
I'm
that's
right, but however,
no, I'm saying that's bullshit. It shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be the case.
Are you legal aspects of carrying a gun? Are you talking about the legal aspects of carrying a gun?
What I'm saying is this. Listen, again, it's still my question has not been answered. Why is it that when I address these things and I call these things out when it comes to how things are carried out, whether it be in the courts or, you know, politicians, protecting certain rights of certain groups of people that are not being protected, then that turns into I'm some soft dude. I'm emotional. I want people to like me and all this other nonsense. Yes, I do own guns, Freedman. That's a fucking irrelevant question. Stop asking dumb shit, bro.
Have you ever read the book To Kill a Mockingbird?
Get out of here, man. See, this is what I'm talking about.
Can I ask everyone else on this point? Have you ever have you been privy to what?
Because it's
wait a minute. Hold on, y'all. Wait a minute. Hey, yeah. Keep on. What was that last part you said? You said somebody had said something or asked a dumb question. What was you talking about?
Freeman's journal is in the chat. He said, "Does he even own guns?" And this is what this is the dumb shit that it goes into, where I'm asking a legitimate question and it goes into this shaming. Does he even own? Do you even lift, bro? How about that?
Yeah,
like it's all stupid shit.
Ignore the chat. Ignore the chat.
No, keep it 100.
Ignore the chat.
I think you're going back to your original question when black men start talking about their best interests and supporting their best interests, and then it could get flipped into, you know, you want somebody to like you, or you got your hand out and all of this. I think Nate answered in a roundabout way. I think he answered your question that some of the stuff, not all of it, but some of the stuff that black people be talking about, it don't be, you know, actual concrete, tangible things that other groups ask for. It normally does just reek of, you know, wanting that hug that we
but understand,
B. But you talked. Hold on, but real quick. You did talk about it from more of a tangible standpoint. And a black man who legally owns a gun and has it to protect himself, he shouldn't, you know, he should nothing legally come against him for that reason. Now, if you're talking about getting something in place that protects a black man who legally owns a gun, and make sure that he ain't gonna, you know, be frisked or be charged or no bullshit. Then
be shot up in the driver's seat of his car.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. I think most people will get behind and support that if it's made clear and precise like that. I think what it is. I think what it is that a lot of the stuff that black people want. This goes back to, you know, my problem. Even though I understand the spirit of what he's trying to say, but when Devin was talking about the Black American Party or whatever, when you look at black politics, all of that shit, it ends up being something where, you know, it's helping women with their children, basically incentivizing, subsidizing, and enabling baby mamas to be more comfortable in their baby mama-ism. And it's and it's you know, it's helping dudes, you know, like the kids that they raise that grow up and become criminals is gonna get nuck out of jail sooner, you know, like that's black politics.
But
so like grown legal, I have a question. Grown ass law abiding black male citizens, you know, what we want and what makes sense to us, it typically don't get put to the forefront. And that goes back to what Nate was talking about when he talked about you know, I forgot what he said, you know, contracts and you know, just stuff for business and all of that, you know.
How many dudes are here really taking advantage of all the shit that they use to promote the Republican Party? And I'm gonna go at that because, you know, I'm a business person. I've been a business person for over 20 years. I want to know because the few, and we done this a few times, Bernard. When I hear people promote the Republican Party, the first thing they go to is lower taxes and what was the other thing? The border control,
deregulation, also, yeah,
right. So, but you know, my thing is, listen, I'm not against none of that, but again, you know, and still, my question has not been answered, and I'm cool with it not being answered.
I got the answer.
Everybody has the answer, and then when they start speaking, they don't answer the question.
I'll answer it to you right now. Like Mark,
go ahead, True Hype. Go ahead, True Hype. Take a shot at answering it because I do think keep it 100. I think everybody have
I have answered
talked around the question, but not just straight to the point answered it.
I honestly think
it's
a
a
lot of it is
nuanced question. But go ahead, True Hype.
look, plainly simple. It's because in a lot of people's minds, black men are not to be self-actualized. Period. And that's why far too many times, more than not, the shaming language and the tactics because of the programming works, and that is a problem too.
Okay, so what happens when that's done on the right? Because what I understand is, go ahead.
Hold on, real quick, keep on it. I think that shaming language.
When what's done on the right?
I think that shaming language comes in because a lot of the black men who are talking about, what a political party going to do for us, they are normally Democrat, and like Nate says, they're normally following behind black women and what black women want. So it's like it's almost it comes off that. I know you're not that, but I think so that's why it probably throws some people off.
Okay, so then we're back to the
not enough black men.
So then we're back to the communication thing. Because because I hear Nate say, and don't take this no messed up way, Nate 1 minute he'll say, well, just talk how you talk, and if they understand, they understand, and if they don't, they don't. But then the next minute he'll say, well, I don't understand because you got to use certain words, and words are important. It got to be one way or the other.
What are you talking? That's the same thing,
bro. Check this out.
Words are important. Stop worrying about how people feel about them.
No, because earlier when I was speaking to you, I almost had to reword something so that you understood where I was coming from, because you said, well, that word, I'm taking it this way. So
you got to hear me out.
Listen to what I'm saying, bro. At the end of the day, bro, if black men are going to get what we need from any of these systems, it's just like what Ice Cube did. He put it down on paper and he's saying, okay, whoever is going to rock with the way we're coming, then that's who we going to rock with. And if they won't, then we won't. And I support that. I support my man that got the I don't know his name. He got the Black America shirt on or whatever.
Devin.
Say his name again.
Devin
Lockett, bro.
Right. So like that's where I sit with it. I just don't understand that if we ain't taking shaming from the left, because I ain't about to take it from the right neither. So understand that both sides are playing this shame game. Both sides.
I don't think it's a shame game.
It is. Oh, you with a friend.
Every time you open up,
that's shaming, bro.
I can tell you what it is.
Go ahead.
I can tell you what it is. The problem is we've been conditioned as black men, being in the Democrat Party and on the left for the last 60 years. We think this is how politics is supposed to work. We guilt somebody. Hey, you need. What about me? They don't give a fuck about us and this kind of stuff. This is
that's not even the language I'm using, though, bro.
There have been men saying this on the large panel.
Nate, what I need you to do is speak to me in the language that I'm speaking to you in. Let's not talk about black men and how they can. No, talk to me. Answer my questions according to how I'm articulating it to you, because you're going elsewhere. And this is why I keep saying nobody's coming direct with what I'm saying.
The words
you keep telling me about what other black men are doing and how they were raised and they conditioned and blah, blah, blah. Here's a guy that is not in that category talking to you, asking you these questions, and you keep going back to those guys over there to make your point. I'm asking you, as somebody who does not fuck with the left, bro, for every reason you don't. For every reason you don't. Come at the question from that perspective and stop talking about the Luciferians and all this other shit, because
I'm not going to stop talking about it.
Bro, you're not going at it directly. You're going around, ring around the rosy shit, and that shit gets kind of frustrating, bro.
Keep it 100. The issue we had earlier was with that specific word you use, is because it's that type of wording that leads black people to believe that we're supposed to be taken care of by a political party.
Nobody said that either. Again, you keep going to these emotional responses, taken care of. Again, friends, love. I said, carry out the letter of the law or the policy for everyone, especially your supporters, regardless of who they are. And I use the open carry AR-15 gun thing as an example. This isn't about taking care of me.
Well, those are the things.
That's what I'm saying. So you keep going back to that. We're not talking about the niggas that's not in the room that look for a black man was born illegally. You're not talking about that, bro.
The things like
how many cases have you come across? Hold up. How many cases have you come? And I found this problem all the time, right?
Who is that speaking right now?
Huh?
Yeah, I don't know who is speaking.
Jason.
Right
my apologies.
Oh, that's the person. Okay, it's a box that says camera. Like if you click that, a picture will pop up, and we'll see your avatar pulsating, and we'll know. It'd be easy to tell when you're talking. You and the guy with the little white and purple camera thing. When y'all talking, it's a little harder to tell. Like you gotta
hold up.
You gotta play StreamYard properly. Like
How do I edit audio avatar?
No. It's a
stop
I don't know how I look on your end, but yeah.
My bad. This is the first time I've done this before.
Oh, cool. And I appreciate you coming up. But hit the stop cam or start cam button. Just click on it and the avatar can pop.
So how about this? Biden comes into office, right? He writes whatever Asian hate law, whatever the case may be, right? Yeah, writes that, right? We react to it how we react to it. Understand, like when those people they protested, they did whatever they had to do. Nobody told the Asians, "Oh, y'all just looking for love and friends and pats on the back. So you need somebody to take care of you." Nobody said that to them.
Because
nobody said that to them.
It had nothing to do. It had nothing to do with the Asians. It was all bullshit. Like that entire thing.
Whatever it was, that's not the
because
point.
It was bullshit. It was
the reaction to that was not what the reaction is when black men specify that
because it's not about reaction.
Maybe it's because we got 60, 70 years of black people doing this. And we have one incident you can point to with the Asians.
You say what now?
Maybe it's because black people have been doing this shit for 60, 70 years, and you can only pull up one incident with the Asians asking for something. I can pull up 100 million incidents of black people demanding justice.
And it gets competitive in this country, the treatment of black people. Understand that black men have been doing that for so long because their experience is different than those other groups of people.
Okay, but that's an unfair comparison. I need another.
Why is it? No, see, no. If you're gonna say we're not,
I need a different example.
If you're gonna say that the group of people have been crying too long, understand that the other groups of people didn't have to cry because they wasn't being dealt with in the same manner as the people making the most noise. Is that common sense or no?
No, it's not common sense.
Absolutely, it is.
It's
not. Of course it is.
Because it's unfair. Okay, check this out.
What COINTELPRO was built for Asian people to not progress?
Okay, listen. No, that's not where I'm going with it. You're talking about a hate bill.
I didn't say that. That's where I went with it.
You went with the hate bill. I've said that's a bad example. Use another example. I understand where you're going with it. The Asian crime bill came because black women kept going in stores and beating up the Asians and then getting their boyfriends to come out to fight.
That's literally that's literally what the fuck is going on.
We don't have daily interaction with Asians. Asians steal more quote unquote black affirmative actions. Asians and Arabs take more affirmative action from black people, and black people ain't never rallied for that. They don't rally for the education. They don't rally for the economics. They don't rally for the.
They did rally. You'd say.
Go ahead, Jason. Go on, Jason. Go ahead. You was trying to jump in there.
This is literally what was going on with that, with the jab crap, right? Not the jab crap, but the stuff that Trump was saying, right? People reacted and it made up all of this bullshit stating, making it seem like it was white America that was attacking Asians. It was mainly black people doing it. Like every video that they ever had, it was black people hurting, killing them, and beating them up. That's partly the reason why they passed it, to make it seem like there was this massive agenda. Go ahead. I can hear you.
I think somebody's talking. Having
that's my point. You're basing the percentage of offenders on videos, fam, or like this is based on media.
Dude, this is literally what was. This was literally what was. They even did a clip.
That part of that Asian hate thing, it did have something to do with incidents with black people. I'll just say it
Yes,
like that.
dude.
I didn't do
They-
content on it, but I did see somebody laying out the evidence that that's what it was about. But they didn't want to
Yes.
say that because they didn't want to come off as too racist. They just wanted their bill passed.
How many
That's the
times
reason
did that?
why-
How many times did the scene in Menace to Society play out when they were in the Asian market?
You talking about the movies now?
How many times did that scene play out in real life?
So there was this clip I saw on YouTube, like, you know, the advertisements or whatever that come on before you watch the video, and it was kind of like random. It was like, stop the Asian hate, we are one people, and blah blah blah. And it was literally an Asian chick with a black dude. It wasn't white people. It was like, and I saw that and I was like, wait, that makes no sense to the narrative. I thought it was like a whole scale, like everybody was attacking Asian people. And what it was when that narrative was out and it was constantly black people attacking Asian people, right? They started realizing, holy shit, the numbers don't pan out the way our narrative, the way we're painting it. And so little by little, that entire story fucking disappeared until that bill came out. That's legitimately what the fuck was going on.
That's what politicians always do. They sidestep what the actual real issue is, and they name something like no child left behind, and then they screw you in the end. But we are so focused on the surface level stuff that we don't get into the detail, and the devil is always in the details. Marcus is right though. Like Marcus is right though.
I'm gonna jump off because I gotta jump on with the Green Gorilla. But disagreement or agreement, has been cool kicking it with y'all. I'm gonna jump off and yeah. Hey, bro, I need one of them shirts, bro. You need to post that link, bro. You know what I'm saying? I like that. So, hey, B, thanks for having me up. Nate, you already know what it is. And the rest of you gentlemen in the chat.
All right.
I got to get with Tice today. He in Vegas, man.
Oh, okay, good deal,
yeah,
good deal, man. For the
Yeah,
fight,
probably go
salute,
live or
man.
something. Yeah, he had to fight. So, yo, I don't want to hold it up. I'll talk to y'all later, man.
That's all
All right, peace.
Peace out. Peace out.
Good.
Nice talking to you.
All right, yeah. Keeping it real, I done went longer than what I wanted to today. Anyway, it was a good conversation, so I did want to keep it going. But we do this every Saturday. We have conversations that lean more political. So every Saturday, you normally Hood Conservative left, but me and Hood Conservative start off with a one-on-one on the political side of things, and then we open it up and have these good conversations. But all right, y'all, we about to get up out of here. Before we go,
welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
all right, make sure y'all go and subscribe to Machismo TV, the best male-centric clip show, highlight reel channel in the business. Make sure y'all go and subscribe and check them out. Do appreciate everybody coming on through. Do appreciate each and every one of y'all. And before I go, I gotta play this again. This is the funniest shit.
Take selfies and talk shit through Wi-Fi because they.
Hold on. I don't know who the hell AI Tucker Carlson.
Bitches born in the 90s that's under 25 can't cook, can't clean. They don't want to work nothing. Niggas that's 31 and over get in relationships with them and wonder why shit ain't working. That's because all young bitches want to do is pop pills, smoke weed, get drunk, lay around, suck dick, eat hot Cheetos, charge they phone, get a sew and weave, twerk, be bisexual, eat McDonald's, wash they pussy in the sink, lie, take selfies, and talk shit through Wi-Fi because they phone never on.
All right, yeah. Forgive me. I just had to play that again. I thought that it was the funniest shit. But all right, y'all. We getting out of here. Peace. Thank you, everybody, supporting the stream. Appreciate you, gentlemen, coming on the panel. And you too, Jason. You newcomer to the panel. I do appreciate you. Definitely like your perspective, but not you know how to work the little avatar. Yeah. All right. Cool. Peace, y'all. We out.